Breaking off all units. Fire at will. Pick a target. Watch the stabilizer go six. Anybody cover me. I got two bolters on my tail. Gotta hold them here. Watch your left. I can't shake them. Okay. Wait for reinforcements.
I wish I was there.
Oh, Donny, you'll make me cry already.
Oh, bless. No, that FOMO has just hit me all over again. Cheers for that.
No worries, mate. No worries.
Quality intro done. Awesome.
Yeah, another excellent effort, mate. Thank you very much. Always appreciated.
Always a joy, mate. Always a joy.
Very much. Hello everyone, and welcome to our Star Wars Celebration Europe 2023 discussion, recap, and review. Mostly on these guys' part, because, like I said, I wasn't there. So, essentially, I'm going to be handing the reins of the channel over to Dan and James today. But we have got a bit of housekeeping to get through before we jump into the nitty-gritty of Star Wars Celebration. First and foremost, how are you guys doing? Have you recovered from your rather eventful weekend a fortnight ago?
Unfortunately. Back to reality. Boo.
It's a sucker, isn't it? Well, I was exactly the same in 2016. I came home and I was like, how the hell is anything that I ever do in my life ever again going to top what I've just experienced? But there's always Japan.
I don't think so.
You know you want to. It's looking. I'm thinking about it. I'm seriously thinking about it. Priced up some hotels and what have you. So we'll see how that goes. But Dan, how you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm surviving. I'm thriving. I'm living it and loving it.
Always. So yeah, essentially what I thought the premise of this live stream would be today is, like I said, we'd blast through everything from Celebration. For the most part, like I said, I'm going to hand the reins over to Dan and James to talk about their experiences and their memories and share their stories and all that sort of stuff, just because I wasn't there. I was sat at home, sadly, watching it as it all unfolded in real time. But once we get into, because we're obviously going to talk about like the product reveals and stuff, and we're going to go into the movies that were announced, and obviously that amazing Ahsoka trailer. Those are the three main topics that we're going to discuss throughout this stream. Is your guys' memories, the Ahsoka trailer, and all the product reveals. So before we do all that, like I said, housekeeping. We've got through the introductions. So one thing I just wanted to quickly touch on before we dive into Celebration is that because that FOMO hit me so hard, and I had a Star Wars convention itch that seriously needed scratching, we're heading off to Blackburn, me and Dan, and we are going to be going to the Star Wars Fan Fun Day next month on the 14th of May. Like I said, Blackburn Rovers FC. Really excited for this because I've been to a couple of Star Wars Fan Fun Days in years past. This will be Dan's first, which I'm quite buzzing about. Actually, I'm really excited.
You've dragged me to it. You were literally saying, "Dan, you're coming." While I was at Celebration, like, "You coming?" I'm like, "Have I got a say in this?" You're like, "No, you coming." I'm like, "Okay then."
It's
Sweet.
happening. It's happening, and you've got no choice.
I put it in my diary. It's on a weekend. I never usually do anything on weekends anyway, so let's have it.
Well, this is the thing, because I was panicking a little bit because it dropped on it. Usually it's on a bank holiday Monday,
Yeah.
and this one's on a Sunday, and I was like, oh no, I work Sundays. But I've managed to do a little bit of shift swapping, and I've pulled some strings, so I've got it off. Thank God.
We're good this time.
We're good. We're good. So we're
Compared to last time.
After God knows how many years, we're finally getting off. But yeah, Sunday, May the 14th, 2023. If you're in the UK, if you've not been to one of these events, or even if you have, get down there because it's insanely cool. It is really, really good. It is I'd go as far as to say it's easily one of the UK's best Star Wars events. Like the costumes, the props that are on display, the guests that they get, and the merch and all that sort of stuff. It's always a fun day out. There's always something to do. And it is just absolutely fantastic. So you'll see the little ticker banner going across the bottom there with all the details. Jot that one in your planners, guys. And if you want information on the Fan Fun Day, head over to swffd.co.uk. The best part about this event for me has always been the fact that it's a non-profit. So all the proceeds from this one go to charity, and it's all in aid of the East Lancashire Hospice. So it all goes to a good cause. It's all, it's just amazing. It's just a feel-good day out. And I hope to see as many of you guys there as possible. And like I said, me and Dan are going to be there, and we're going to try and limit our budgets a little bit, because I think after Celebration, you went a little bit mental, didn't you?
Let's not. Even after Celebration.
I took my eyes off him for 2 minutes, and he'd already filled his arms with things he said he wasn't going to get. I turned me back, and next minute is... Where the bloody hell have them come from, Dan? That was quick.
The eternal struggle of a Star Wars collector. It's always the case, isn't it? You left unattended for a couple of minutes, and
this was the Thursday as well before we'd even started.
That's true, actually. Yeah. I think that's. Well, are we getting into it now, then, lads?
Well, let's get into it. But firstly, I think it's safe to say that when we do head up to the Fan Fun Day, you're on the hunt for glup shitters.
Always. There we go.
Dan brought me a glup shitter back from Celebration. This is the one thing that I wanted. I wanted the full band, but I appreciate the fact that box were absolutely bleeding massive. But the fact that you pulled this one out of the bag and managed to pick this up for me, because I have already got a plush Max Reba, to be fair. So that's fine. But this is just mental. And I love it. It's so stupid.
Give the audience a kiss with it. You've got to give everyone a kiss with it.
Love her. Thanks, Dan.
She's going to kill you in your sleep and reveal all your secrets back to the Hutt families.
That's fine. I'll let it happen. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to hand the reins over to you guys basically, and let you guys take the stream from here, because this is your celebration, not mine. But I'll get my sort of stuff out of the way first. Did you have a good time?
Oh yeah. Mate, where to start with that one? The best.
I'm going to say, because as I said before we went on air, didn't I? I was like, I feel like I knew James before Celebration, and now I know James after Celebration.
Yeah, I can testify
equally
to
as
that.
Depressed before and after, but for two completely separate reasons. Oh man, I had the time of my life. Just to put it bluntly,
Brilliant.
The best 4 days of anything that I've ever done.
I think it's safe to say James did Celebration hard, and he did it well. He did it well. I was envious, would be the word. Man's got stamina. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah,
way more than me.
I was what was it, about 5 to 5 in the morning on Saturday to get into that standby line for the Ahsoka panel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Worth every second.
Yeah. I think what's a good place to start, because I think when we met up, maybe when I came off the train at London St Pancras, and it was like, is it London St Pancras? I think it was, weren't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And I'm with my mate Rick, and I were like already dazed because I've just come off the train. It were really busy. It's like, oh shit, it's James in the flesh.
I'm under a big clock somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. That was the thing. I'm under a big clock somewhere. I'm like, right, this is like, where's bloody Waldo? But we found each other.
We did.
And you're like, well, we could go to Finn. So we went to Finn Planet, So we all tied down to Fin Planet. And yeah.
Would have been rude not to.
Well, exactly. You've kind of got to do Fin Planet first. So this is when, before the actual event, the day before. So we went to Fin Planet. So much stuff actually happened in there, to be fair. Because naturally, when you're with me, I think this is like James's first experience of, because this is the first time we met, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In person. And going into Fin Planet, first thing he says was, "Oh, look down there." I was like, "Oh, what?" I'm like, because I'm such a dozy git, I'm like, "I want Leia because she's £9.99. He's like, "What's down there, Dan?" I'm like, "What's down there?" Like a little sniffer dog. There's this Micro Galaxy Squadron Republic gunship. They had one of them. Big tempt. Very big tempt. But I resisted. But I screamed in Fin Planet. Oh my god! I've not seen this before! And then there's like all these people looking around at me in absolute joy at me just with this toy that I'm not actually going to buy that I really want. So like, no, I'm going to be good. So we walked
I think
off.
at one point there was a comment under somebody's breath like, "This place is full of sweaties," and it's like, dude,
That
have you
was it.
seen the shop that you've just walked into? This is where sweaty people live, mate. Come on.
I mean, if you've just come off the underground as well.
I was going to say, you're going to be sweaty regardless.
Good grief. So yeah,
Oh.
we saw a staff member said, "Can I have Leia, please, because she's £9.99. He said, "I'll put it to Tom." Like, "Sure you will." So we were like walking around, because I'm so socially awkward, I'm like, did he actually put it there? And then I looked over and said, "Oh, actually he has. Fair play to you, man." Because he did look pretty stressed. I mean, it was rammed in there, weren't it?
It always is.
Oh yeah.
It always is. Like I've always wanted to go in and film and do a little like toy run video in there, but I never get the chance because you just can't get your phone out your pocket. It's a nightmare. No. I don't know how like guys like Black Tie Ewoks and stuff manage it, because I'm just like, do you know what? I just want to be in and out. Like I can't think of any other place that sells Star Wars merch that I don't want to be. Do you know what I mean? Like I just don't want to be in there. It's horrible.
Somebody needs to tell them I'll price Hot Toys figures.
To be fair, it's always a bit spenny in there, isn't it?
Yeah, bloody hell.
Yeah.
There's a reason that cabinet's full, and it's nothing to do with stock levels.
Yeah, exactly.
So while you and Rick were looking at the Hot Toys, I said, "I'm just going to get one of the blind boxes for Micro Galaxy." I was going to get one for Wave 2. I was just going to get one. So I walk past it, and then as I go through the queue, I think, no, I need another. And then I get to the till, put my stuff through. 20 quid, which was a decent spend in there for me. I think that was fairly reasonable. Fairly conservative. And then you turn around and like, "You bought two of them." I'm like, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah, so we just turn around, Dan's there in our peripherals. "Oh, that was quick. Oh, bloody hell, I thought you were only getting one." I said, "Oh, here we go. It begins now."
It all began. So we got a hotel sorted out, at least me and Rick did. I had a lovely walk every day, to be honest, because I went over London Bridge, which was quite, nice. Always fun to see TikTokers filming in the morning, trying to get them, prime time opportunity, and just think it's a bridge, get over it. But yeah, every morning it was such a breeze. Compared to last time when I went, it was such a breeze. Such a breeze to get there, because last time, in 2016, I was pretty far out from where the convention centre was, and it did mean really early starts. So this time it wasn't too bad. It was pretty easy to navigate.
Excuse me. Although we did spend about 20 minutes in a frantic panic thinking we were going to get an £80 fine posted through the door because neither of us could figure out how to use the underground or the DLR. So
tip and tap, brother, tip and tap. It's just, where is the tip and tap?
That was an education, all right.
Yeah, because
I'll be honest.
Sorry,
it's one of the things I'm dreading, because we've said that because we're off to London in May, in next month in May. I keep saying in May like we're not a few weeks away from May happening, and it's messing with my head. But yeah, we're heading down next month because we're going to see Book of Mormon, and I'm buzzing. I can't wait. I'm very excited. But obviously, there is naturally the trip to Forbidden Planet and Disney Store that's going to get chucked in there and stuff. But we're heading up to I think it's called the Sky Garden, which I think is just past the Tower of London, but we're staying in Covent Garden. And it's like, oh, do we? Because we have walked it from Covent Garden to sort of like the Tower of London area before, and it's not took us that long because we've got long legs and we fucking sprint. But at the same time, it's like, do I want to walk there and walk back? And I'm like, no, probably not. So we've made.
Steve, it'll take you no time because this idiot spent 2 hours walking to his hotel because he wanted to kill some time. Don't worry about it.
But we've made the conscious decision this year because especially after like walking around New York and all absolutely killed us off. So we're like, nah, I don't think we're going to do that ever again. We're going to use public transport. So yeah, cheers. You've just fueled my anxiety a little bit more. So we're already panicking about using underground, but now I'm worried even more. Can't you do it on your phone?
Google is your friend. Google is because that's on my last day. That was the thing I'm most worried about because I left the exhibition centre, got on the DLR, got off. I'm like, right, wow. I'm all on my own now. I'm really scared. And then I'm like, Google, help. And it said, oh, get off on here and go on there. And then I got into the tube and it was just like a maze. And I just followed it and I just hoped for the best. And it all worked out in the end. I got to like St. Pancras stop and I'm like, beautiful. Only 3 stops as well. I was like, what? How have I managed this? How have I done that? You clever boy. I felt so proud of myself.
Well done, Dan.
Because Tube proper does like give me a sense of anxiety because there's just so many, like you see it rammed and everyone's like that.
Yeah.
Wasn't too bad, really, was it? It wasn't too bad.
It wasn't, and given it was like a bank holiday, you know, like a weekendy deal.
It was mostly full of Star Wars fans as well.
Yeah.
We get on the DLR, and as it goes, it must have gone over a switch track. And the bloody thing just goes like this, and we're holding on for dear life. And then it's just silence, and Dan just goes, well, at least we're still flying half a ship. And the carriage was just...
They all just turned to look at me like, what an absolute haughty. This guy then goes, hello there. And I'm like, thank God. Someone didn't make me feel so awkward.
Oh, people...
That gives me life. I love it.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
That was the day when we went up to scout the actual, like, because that was when we went to Finn Planet. And
yeah, we just went for a bit of a recce, didn't we? Yeah. I went up earlier that morning and somehow managed to just walk right past security. They weren't letting any public members in that day, just exhibitors and vendors. And I didn't know, so I just thought I'd go for a walk in there, see if I could get any pictures. And somebody gets stopped by security before me, so I just walked as I belonged and somehow made it in there. Got to see all the artwork, walked past the Star Wars Show live team, and then walked out because I was like, I shouldn't be in here. No, it was good. Met UK Toy Collector from YouTube and Instagram. Had a good natter to him while I was waiting for Dan on the train.
Yeah,
it was a decent morning.
Nice.
Far too anxious to actually ask any of the Star Wars Show live team for a picture or say hello to them at that point. Quickly learned from that mistake. But yeah, it was good. It was exciting. Bit of back chat when we went in off that ticket guy. Well, this is a ticket hall. This is where you wait. But yeah, we've just come have a look though. It's like, well, there's nothing interesting happening here. Wow. All right. See you later.
Oh dear.
Oh man. So the day of the, I think, does that bring us into the day of the event?
I was going to say, shall we start breaking down our experiences and stories and all that sort of stuff? Should we dive into some photographs? Because we've got a few images lined up. Dan and James have been kind enough to send over some of their images and photos from Celebration that we can show on screen, so it's not just looking at our sexy faces all the way through. We're going to actually have some stuff to talk about from Celebration, and it's going to be up on screen for you. So apologies if I've got the order all out in terms of what day was which and all that sort of stuff, but I've sort of picked, because I know I kind of anticipated that this would be a meaty stream and that we might be on here for quite a while. And so I've tried to do it in order of most interesting pictures first, so that by the time it starts to dip off and people get fed up of listening to us, we're just talking through all the it's Hasbro stuff, it's all that sort of stuff. So we'll open up with boom. There they are.
Who's that absent chap in the middle?
James, talk us through that, mate.
Oh, mate. I don't know where to start, really. What an experience. I mean, I'm surrounded by my childhood heroes right there, and in that moment, it means and meant the world to me. I'd met them all on the Friday for autographs before I had this photo taken. And the autograph hall was dead because everybody was rushing to the Lucasfilm Showcase panel. So when they were there, I just got to stand and chat for 10 minutes with them, thank them for what they'd done over the years, and just tell them a little bit about why the Clone Wars means so much to me. And, it wasn't a case of, like everybody says, you should never meet your heroes, or they'll just scribble on a bit of paper for you and send you away. They listened to you. They were engaging. They were doing voice lines from the show. I mean, Ashley Eckstein, she is everything that you see on the internet. She's just the epitome of kindness. And it was nothing short of a pleasure to meet her, to meet everyone, really. I got to see James Arnold Taylor and Matt Lanter actually have some banter as I went up with me Little 8x10. He steps back, he goes, "Oh, Matt, where should I sign this so that you can sign it?" And he goes, "Oh, mate," he's just like, "Oh, do it in the corner there." And then he turns it over and he goes, "Oh, you should probably do it here and then I'll sign it on the front." And I was just in awe because right there, it might just look like two normal people, but that's Anakin and Obi-Wan just going at it. Oh, I loved it, man. D. Bradley Baker was doing a load of different clone voices, did the classic, in my book experience, outranks everything line.
Oh, man.
They were all just fantastic, and it was the best way to kickstart Celebration. And then I hate pictures of myself. Like, I tell my mum not to have my school photos up. You know what mums are like, and I bloody hate it. I'm an ugly bastard. And I was so paranoid about having this photo because I thought I'd look like an idiot. And
nah, man.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for it to turn out any better. I'm still in awe of it now. Like it's in a frame on my wall, and I just look at it and smile.
You're saying that about you were conscious about having the photo taken and all that sort of stuff. And this isn't me just sucking arse again, but I was genuinely going to say before you even started talking about this experience that is, I mean, it's one of only a few photo shoot pictures that I've seen from the event that people have shared, but that is genuinely like one of the best photos that you could have with cast members from Star Wars, because it doesn't look like you've met people from a TV series. Like in that photo, in that moment, you all look like you've known each other years.
Yeah.
You all look like friends, and you all look like you belong in that. You look like a clique. Do you know what I mean?
You've all got your own
really
personalities.
You've said that, to be honest.
Yeah, I love it. Like even from like Ashley's smile to James pointing at your shirt. I think for me in this picture, it's D that makes it.
Yeah. He's notorious for this, apparently. Just doing crafty little poses that nobody expects, but they are just the best. That as you go in, because I'd never had a professional photo op before, so obviously the consensus is, "Oh, you'll just get 2 seconds and take your picture on your way. See you later."
Yeah.
You go in, they all say hello to you, and they ask how you'd like to pose or what you'd like to do. There was a chap in front of me with the same shirt on as me. So as I walked in afterwards, D. Bradley Baker was like, "Oh, look, another one." Points to my shirt. I goes, "Oh, have you seen it? Is it good?" And I don't think he expected it. So that was a good icebreaker, you know.
Yeah.
And I just said, "Is it okay if I put my arms around you guys?" You know, sort of a family photo type thing. And that's the result right there.
It's amazing. I love it. I mean, Dee's energy in that photo just radiates, and like your face just says it all. Like you
Mate.
could not look more beaming if you tried, and I absolutely love that for you, mate. I really do. Like
Honestly.
that's one of my main anxieties about meeting actors and stars from films and TV shows and all that sort of stuff is the fact that like you never really know like how to approach them and what to say, and yeah, because like one of the things that puts me off doing stuff like this is the fact that, well, I don't really want to meet people and just go and tell them things that they've heard a million times before from a million different strangers. It's like I don't know. There's just something about it that always puts me off. But like just seeing that, I'm just like, man, I'm in awe. I really am. I'm so jealous.
It was just such a profound experience, and as you say, they approach in such a friendly manner. They understand what the show means to people.
Yeah.
And I've never really experienced it before. I've met a few different actors from Star Wars. I've met Anthony Daniels, Ray Park. I've met Jonas, and they're all very nice. But there's a certain stigma that's associated with people when you meet them, that because they're a celebrity, because they earn megabucks to do what they do, that they sometimes bypass the personal reason of why you want to meet them.
Mm.
And there was none of that with this. They fully understand that the fans basically are the reason why the show is so successful and why they continue to do what they do.
Yeah.
It was like coming home, really. It's like, excuse me. I caught the fucking flu while I was there. I was like an idiot. No, man. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. They were all just amazing. They blew me away. They all were very gracious and just fantastic. I mean, I could talk about it all day, really, and we'd say the same things, just in different ways.
I know from when we met up after you did the autograph signing, you were absolutely buzzing. And to be honest, we were both trying to weigh up what we should do first, weren't we, when we were in the queue on day one?
Yeah.
Because Nathan and Rick were in other parts of the queue. You were like, well, I could go get my autograph signed and get that sorted. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not too sure what we'll do. If we can't get into this panel, which is the Lucasfilm Showcase, we'll probably bob off to the Celebration store. And you were like, and I, I don't know, should we try the panel? And I said to you, well, do what sings to you, mate. And yeah. I think you made the right. I think we both made the right choice in that instance.
It's because they'd scheduled them all. So my autograph with Ashley was scheduled for 10 a.m. And I wasn't sure how lenient they'd be with the times, because I've heard all sorts of different stories from previous celebrations. I wasn't supposed to meet Matt and James until the Sunday. But because it was so dead, I asked one of the officials there, is it all right if I go up and meet them, even though it's not supposed to be today? You know, there's nobody there. And they were just more than happy to accommodate it as long as there wasn't a queue. So I just met them all one after the other. Matt and James disappeared for a little while to go to the studio showcase panel because no one was there. And I was umming and ahhing before the event whether to meet Michelle Ang, who voices Omega and the Bad Batch. And she just showed up and no one was at her table. So I went and paid for an autograph and met her. That was another fantastic experience.
Nice.
So it was like, I'm meeting 5 voice actors in the first 2 hours. I'm just overwhelmed by everything that's happening at the time. There's cosplayers walking past. Obviously, this is the first time I've been exposed to something on this level. And then I turn around and the Ahsoka trailer's playing and I catch half of that on the screen. And I saw the experience where I'm standing there in the middle of the autograph hall, my jaw's on the floor, and I'm just standing here like that. And all these people are walking past, and suddenly I start to see all these people looking at me, and I'm like, oh, it's good, isn't it? And, but that brings me on to the most important takeaway from this event for me, is that I'm usually quite an introvert. I suffer a lot from social anxiety. And going into this, there was just overwhelming kindness from everybody, whether you knew them or you didn't, and a complete absence of judgment. And I think, considering we spent maybe 6 hours queuing most days, it didn't feel like that. It felt like maybe 20 minutes. You're there, you're chatting to people. They are your friends.
Yeah.
I was talking to guys in line that, you know, I knew for a few hours, and it felt like I'd known them a lifetime. I've had more pleasant conversations with the people I was around there for the 4 days than people I've known half my life. It speaks volumes, it does, because you're all there for the same reason. You're all there queuing for Clone Wars, guys. You're all talking about Clone Wars. I was giving out my sticker packs that I got for Take With Me, and everybody, you know, that was a little discussion topic, and then people in cosplay, naturally, you chat about that, and you're all sort of watching and waiting for your little turn to meet these guys. It was just exciting. It was the best way to start Celebration for me, because, and when you said, Steve, you don't typically know how to approach these people that you're going to meet. I think because I'd idolized them for years, and I've wanted to meet them for years, I think that's why it went so well. Yeah. I've had so long just to run over it in my head. Like, I think I spent 2 or 3 weeks just getting the autograph prints sorted, because I would order them, and if they came and they weren't in particularly great quality, or there was something not right with them, I would then... I probably spent too much money just reprinting things, because I had to have these right. Yeah. People that are watching that don't know what I'm on about, if you go onto my Instagram page, you'll see I've got 4, whatever they're called, the story reels, the archive thingy, I don't know, the highlights, whatever you want to call those things. If you go onto day 1, you'll be able to see the actual prints that I got signed, and they're all lovely. They were all personalised. They all had either a little quote or the name of the character on there. It was great, man. I actually had a conversation with Matt Lanter, and I didn't know until I came back, because you don't see everything while you're there naturally. So when they were on the live stage talking, apparently he spoke about something on the live stage that I spoke about to him in person, and I only know because when I was telling my girlfriend, like, the conversation that I had with him, she's like, "Oh, that was on the thing. You spoke about that." Oh, wow. Like, "Oh, okay." It's like, wow, fair enough.
It's stuff that you find out after as well, isn't it? Because you're on the show floor, you don't see everything that's going on.
Well, I mean, yeah.
There's a story to that.
By all means, Dan.
Are you sure? So
go for it, man. I've spoken for a fair bit. You have a shot.
Meanwhile, so while James is getting his signatures done, I'm waiting for Nathan and Rick, and I'm watching everyone come in. Right, like a little, like someone at an airport, like Love Actually kind of thing. Like, where's Nathan? Where's Rick? They're all going in the panel. I'm like, oh. I'm not really like that, because I think mentally I'd said to myself, the main panel I want to get into is Andor. That's the main one. I'll be happy if I can get into it. We'll get to that. Because as soon as Nathan and Rick come, like, right, let's try and get into the panel. Walk past the sort of screening stage queue. No room at the inn. So we thought, we'll try the main stage. No room at the inn. So we then think, you know what? Let's just stick to the original plan and just go to the Celebration stuff, because we didn't get Lightspeed tickets because I was at work and they were busy and forgot about it. So we queued up in the queue, and we were stood there, because I got to catch up with Nathan because I hadn't seen him.
Can I just say then? Nathan and Rick, if they're watching, they'd probably not be. They've probably got more important things to do than watch us talk about this. But if they see this at any point, or if you see, mate, cracking guys. I'd never met them until we got there. I had a fantastic time with them. You know, just brilliant, funny. You know, just proper down to earth guys. You know, the people that you're with make the experience. So 100%. I can't say no more than that.
Yeah. So. They've got me, I mean, just a little shout out to them. They've got me through a lot through the past good few years. And yeah, it was really nice to share that experience with them and just be our weird selves. And we were queuing in the queue and we were just goofing off together. Then we get into the Celebration store. Now I kind of said to myself, I'm going to get a couple of bits. Yeah. Ring it all through the till. Yeah. Ring it all through the till. That's £260. Would you like a free pin? Well, not free. Would you like a pin incentive? Would you like a pin incentive? Oh, you can have 2 pin incentives. They're £10 each. Would you like to have £20 to order? Like, oh, yes, please.
Oh, man.
Yes, please. So,
anywhere else on the planet, if somebody says, you've just spent X amount of pounds, would you like to spend some more for something else that you can't get otherwise? People would say no. We said yes.
I just said yes to everything, because when I was going around the Celebration store, we're just like this immediately. So because I didn't have a lanyard for my badges, and I was like, why didn't they give us a lanyard? I'm sure they said they were going to give us a lanyard, and apparently they were giving them out, but I just missed it. So I spent £8 on my lanyard, and then I got some little badges. I got Ahsoka and Jackson.
I love that Jackson.
So Jackson was the start of it all, because I'm like, you know what? I'm in this for glub shittos. So when you go onto my channel, I've got a full haul video of what I got from Celebration. I'm not going to show it in this video. But if you want to check that out, it's on my channel. It's about 22 minutes long, and there's lots of stuff showed off. Most of it is glup shittos. And I said this to James, I'm in it for glup shittos. So we're walking round, and just bear in mind at this point, as we're walking round, we've not checked our phones because there's no Wi-Fi reception. Like, no Wi-Fi reception. Whatever. We're at Star Wars Celebration. I get my bags packed, go round the corner, and then all of a sudden, I'm hit with... I had a moment. I don't know if we've got a picture of this, Steve. But it's of the mural.
We have...
I can still hear.
I think we've got a picture if...
yeah.
That's all.
There it is.
There it is. So as soon as I come out of the Celebration store, I'm hit with this, and I kind of do an internal scream, and I'm pointing like, it's the Meryl's mural. It's the thing from Ahsoka. And I'm just going, really high-pitched, really good. And me and Nathan and Rick, we're all taking pictures in front of it. There's a really wholesome one of me and Nathan that I've got off that's my Facebook profile picture at the moment. And it's very, very wholesome. And my jaw hit the ground when I saw that. And I think that for me was a moment like, this is going to be really special.
Can I just specify to the viewers, the actual one from the Ahsoka set? Because I've seen people online saying, there's no way they've shipped that all the way from America. That's not the real one. Do you think they just painted it at Pinewood Studios and put it on a lorry just for us?
Yeah.
Come on. No, that was just wicked, man. I took a nice picture of it because I was so determined to. That's a memory, that is. It means so much to so many people because of Rebels, and now you're standing in front of it.
I genuinely got goosebumps. So when we had a good few minutes standing in front of that, we were like, oh, we better find where James is. So I can't remember what happened, but Rick were doing something. Me and Nathan were stood in front of the big 8080 because that became a pillar of, go to the big 8080 if you don't know where everyone is.
The greenhouse.
We'll find you there. The greenhouse. We get to that later.
Fasten your sensing, guys.
Buckle up, buckaroos. Hopefully we'll get to that story. So the big 8080, and Nathan manages to get connection on his phone. And he's like, oh, what's been announced? He's like, so new Rey film. Oh, cool, sweet. Yeah, I'm all down for that.
Pleasant surprise.
Pleasant surprise. And then...
a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. That's what we should have said.
Thrawn and heir to the Empire.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, he's evaded me again. And I stood there to him. He's just said it casually, and I'm like, I've gone probably white as a sheet. Oh. So we try and find James, and we meet up with it. Well, then...
after 27 phone calls within the XL's Faraday cage of a convention centre, I can't even remember where I ran into you now. I think you were just like, oh, we're going queue for the Andor panel in a minute.
Yeah.
And then I think we just crossed in that main foyer.
We did.
So I was there. I was like, the Ahsoka trailer's out, but I can't watch it because there's no internet. And I saw about 3 seconds on the tally over there. And Nathan comes in, superhero. I've got internet. Do you want to watch it? I'm like, yes.
So we're stood in the queue, taking it in turns to watch the trailer. So James goes first, and I'm like over his shoulder, like, what's it? Nathan knows that I'd wind me up.
Is this the iPad video?
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
The quote in that, I think Dan, you sent me that video. I think I don't know whether you sent it me or whether you stuck it on your Instagram story. But the fact that you were huddled around an iPad watching that Ahsoka trailer, and then your line of just, I've spent all this fucking money to get here, and I'm watching it on this, and I don't even care. And that
I'm not asked.
I love that so much.
It's funny because someone in front of us in the queue were like, "Oh, we were actually in the panel, but that reaction was amazing." I'm like, "Thank you."
That's the thing. I was just vocally reacting to this in front of me, seeing Lothal in live action. I was just like, ah. And these people around, they, you know, I think my biggest fear was, oh, they're going to think we're an idiot, you know, because that's the kind of attitude I'm used to in life. Anyway, just judgments all the time, as we spoke about in the last stream. Bullied as a kid, so it's what I expect. And all these people were smiling because they could see the joy that we were getting off watching this trailer. We weren't at the panel, but we were watching this at Star Wars Celebration, surrounded by fans. And it was just the best. When Ahsoka says, oh, there's rumours of Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
Oh.
Come on. Got to go and buy me some books now, man.
But it was at that point as well where I really realised, being at the event, Jesus, no one's said any spoilers. I've walked around this exhibition centre for about 2.5 hours, and I've heard no one mention any spoilers. And it was only until I got into the hotel that I realised, people had watched the first episode, not the first episode, the second to last
penultimate episode of this season of The Mandalorian. Yeah, people got a wristband, so at 6 o'clock that evening, they got a special preview. 4 days we were there, as Dan said. Not a single bloody spoiler.
Not a word. And as soon as that episode aired this week, not only Twitter, but my Facebook newsfeed were rife with it. And I was glad I avoided it, but I did get some tiny little nuggets of spoilers. But it was just like, I've been to Celebration, I've been surrounded by people who've seen it before everyone else, and they've managed to shut the fuck up. And all of a sudden, out of Celebration, where I could have, if I went to it, I could have easily spoiled it for people.
Chose not to.
But
not even a whisper. They didn't even overhype it. That was the best bit.
Yeah.
They just said, "Oh, you're going to love it. We'll say nothing."
But and I think that's the universal thing about Star Wars Celebration, though, is that everybody appreciates that. So sort of like when
unanimous respect.
Yeah, exactly. Like when we went in 2016, like Dan spoke about earlier, Thrawn's eluded him at Star Wars Celebration, and he eluded him in 2016, didn't he, mate? Because I was in the Rebels panel when they announced that he was coming into it, and you didn't manage to get in. So when I came out and met up with you later on that day, I was like, "Guess what?
Thrawn's back."
What? Grabbed you. I was like, "Guess what they announced?" And I was like, "Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to wait until you've seen it?" And you were like, "No, tell me." I was like, "Thrawn." And you're like, "Ah!" But like, there's not that. There's always that sort of level of you don't spoil it for anyone else until they. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a universal language at Star Wars Celebration. It's something different, isn't it? It's different level. Sorry, Dan, go on.
So, one thing I would just add as well, you say that Thrawn eluded me. After that trailer went up, I was like, okay, it's game time. I need to be in the room where it happens, because that Ahsoka panel is probably going to have a look at that blue boy. I felt it in me, burning.
The fact that they'd released the trailer on the Friday pretty much said that they'd got something bigger planned for the following day.
Yeah.
Shall we just touch base on the Andor panel?
That was emotional gut punch.
So that was my first panel, because I've never been to a convention where they've done any proper panels like that. And we get in there, and I wonder, it's a look back at season 1, but there's more chairs on that stage than the guests that are listed on the celebration site. So they proceed to bring out the entire crew, along with Diego Luna and Tony Gilroy. And up on the screen comes a message: no recording or phones at any time. So we instantly know we're in for a treat here. We're in for a treat.
I mean, I tempered my expectation of being like, oh, it's going to be concept art, Oh, there's the lads. There's the boys.
I'll just emphasise. That's Nathan, not me.
That's Nathan, not Steve. And there's Rick as well. So that we're all there after the Andor. And the thing I loved about this panel was, because Rick hasn't actually seen it, and there was a really funny moment. Rick was just there for good vibes, to be honest. He was just there for good vibes. And they played a highlight reel of season 1 of Andor. And I had floods of tears in my eyes because it was like a montage.
Very well edited together.
It were really well put together. And there's a bit where you see Cyril Khan eating cereal, and there was a point before the panel where I'm like, oh, Dan, what's your favourite? I can't remember what we were talking about, or I just randomly said my favourite part of Andor is the bit where Cyril Khan eats his cereal really sadly.
It was a day later. We were sat on the stairs, and it was when I was messing about with that Sice Noodles plush, and you were sat there and we were on about, oh, yeah, Andor's great, you should watch that. I like Cyril because he eats his cereal, Dad. Sad. I'd lost it. It was just the delivery. It was fucking brilliant.
So we while we're watching this Andor panel they're talking about, and there's a bit where they're like, oh, so the thing that Andor's building in prison, and meanwhile this happens, you hear outside one way out, and it's people outside chanting it. And I just had everyone, the whole hall went silent just to listen to people outside chanting that. And that was incredible. But not only that, one of my favourite moments, because that panel just had so many favourite moments for me, there was a bit where they said, obviously people who've seen Andor know what they're building in the prison. And Rick sat next to me, hasn't seen the show, and I'm kind of a little bit emotional. And he just goes, Dan, what are they building? And I'm guessing, it's the Death Star. It's like, oh shit, it's the thing that because he'd seen Rogue One, it's like, oh shit, so the thing that kills Andor is the thing that he helped build. It's like, yeah. It's like, oh,
deep,
cool.
man.
It's like, cool. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. That panel were just incredible. And then when they said, oh yeah, well, we're going to show a look at season 2, there's not really much to touch base on with that. It was just a lot of fast clips. The main takeaway for me was probably Cyril Khan's hat.
Yeah.
He's wearing a cool hat.
He's looking dapper. It's almost like he's...
It's not an Imperial officer's hat, is it?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's almost like he's bettering himself in the job that he's at, or he's doing a different job, possibly to be close to the action. His little vendetta that he's got.
Yeah. Okay. It really didn't give much away.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, though, I did turn to her and say, "Where's Peter Emo?
No.
Where's Peter Emo?"
That kick probably just did too much damage.
Oh, don't, because that would my heart, my soul.
Oh man. So no, it was a good trailer. It was basically just like the same characters we've seen in new environments and new outfits. I think they showed some. Is it like I don't know what they call it? It's just like costume fitting photography. So they showed images of Cassian and Luthen in new outfits. So naturally, Cassian's sort of progressing closer to his Rogue One look.
Cool.
What you'd expect, really.
I was going to say, coming out of that, Forrest Whitaker has confirmed that Saul's returning, hasn't he, for season 2?
Yeah.
So there's that.
They were filming at that that quarry where they filmed for his headquarters this week. They were filming there.
Yeah, I guess me and you were off down south, Dan.
Mate, I've got the digs for it as well, so we can get.
I'm glad you've said that, Steve, because there was a bit where it was in the sort of edited reel of the recap. They got to Knockina 5, and Dan leans over and goes, "I've been there."
Me and Steve have been there.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I think the thing that I really liked about that as well.
See, I was there in spirit.
We thought about it often, mate. Honestly, it was a shame you weren't there,
mate. Genuinely, because especially having gone, Andor, and I bought so many Andor T-shirts because that show means so much to me, and that panel particularly because it came at a time that was quite impactful. But the thing that I really enjoyed was the fact that you had the costume people who'd worked on it and like the set designers, and then you had people in costume in the front row, and that you could tell they were just in awe with the fact that, we just designed these prison digs as like that seems like the right choice. But see fans, taking those designs and that styling. I mean, you could tell they were absolutely blown away by the response to it. I think people who really get Andor, get it. Yeah. There was a point where Diego Luna were really talking about, the country that he comes from and the social and things pertain to that. And you can just relate to it. Everyone can relate to that show. So yeah, very emotional panel for me.
I must admit, I'm really happy because there's a mate of mine at work who's just as massive, like not so much on the collecting side, but in terms of just Star Wars as media, is as big, if not a bigger fan than me. And we always talk about like the latest stuff, the latest episodes of the shows and all that sort of stuff. And I've kept badgering him because he said a few weeks back, he was like, I've still not watched Andor yet. I says, what are you doing? I said, you need to get it watched. It's absolutely fantastic. He's like, well, I tried watching the first episode and I didn't really vibe with it. I didn't really, it wasn't what I was expecting it to be. So I've sort of put it on the back burner. And I said, well, now that it's finished, watch it, just binge it, just plow through it all. Because you'll be able to appreciate it maybe a little bit differently to the way I did, especially when I watched it for the first time. I was, I had my apprehensions as well. I'm not going to lie. Like the first time I watched it, I was like,
they put the first 3 episodes out at once.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what I told him. But he was like, yeah, I'll get round to it. I'll maybe watch it after Bad Batch or I'll watch it after Mando. And then he came to me the other day and he'd had a fortnight off work, and I said, oh, all right. I started catching up and stuff, and he said, yep, finished Mando, finished Bad Batch, and I finally finished Andor. I was like, well, what did you think? He went, I would like to watch it all again, pretend that I've never seen it, and watch it again because it was that good. And I'm like, see, I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? So it's
all
just
those
like,
people all those. Excuse me, lads. I've been coughing all day, and then as soon as I came on here, I couldn't stop. So
it's conflu. You don't even have to be at. You don't have to be at Celebration to get the conflu. You just have to talk about it, and it's there.
James Arnold Taylor gave me this flu. It's very personal to me.
I'm never washing again.
I've lost my train of thought now. Andor. A lot of people were moaning about it being too real to be Star Wars. Screws and bricks. That's why it's so fucking good. That's why so many people can relate to it, because we're so sick of living in this fucked up society. And I mean, you're living in a different world if you think Star Wars has never been political.
Yeah,
that was the main complaint I've seen. It's like it's always been, like a massive synonym of real life politics.
Yeah.
So that's why. I mean, I spoke to you, didn't I, Dan, at the time, because I think obviously meeting in person for the first time, it's different to when we just have a chat over Instagram, because you said 100%. It meant a lot to you for different reasons. And I said the same. So to actually talk about those, I won't go into it because it's just like one whole big thing, but to actually talk about the reasons why this show clicks on different levels for different people, but then to actually see, well, this is sort of the line and our reasons are here. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of hitting off the same sort of rhythm. And it's just great. And it was great to be in a room with a load of people that felt the same way about it, because obviously when it came out, not a lot of people took so well to it. I just kept hearing, "Oh, it's boring, it's not very good, no lightsabers."
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it about time that Star Wars took a different approach?
Yeah. That's why I like The Last Jedi, because it was so different.
Yeah.
For so unusual when it came out. It was unexpected, and that's why it excited me. Yeah, haters. I like The Last Jedi.
I was just about to say, wait for the comments now. Wait for the comments.
For me, the one thing I was always worried about with Andor after seeing it, I thought, oh, is it going to like resonate with people as much as it has with me? And then being at Celebration and seeing how One Way Out became the new Wilro Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was just
fantastic.
my heart. I was like, this is brilliant. Like, there was still, obviously Wilro Hoods running, but on the first time seeing it, yeah, but there was more like One Way Out. People was like, oh my god, this is brilliant.
So we left the panel at that point, and we sort of got separated from Rick and Nathan, didn't we? Did they go to get a drink or something?
I think they went to get a drink, and we had a look at the actual live stream.
We ended up at the live stage, and so they brought out Diego Luna and Tony Gilroy onto the live stage. So you kind of got a new perspective of how they perceived the audience and the people that were there to support them, especially Tony Gilroy, not really being savvy to that side of things before. He was quite overwhelmed, to be honest. And just after they went off the stage, the One Way Out people just did a lap around everywhere. I took a video that's on my Instagram as well for people that are interested. We didn't prepare any videos for the stream today because StreamYard's an absolute swine.
We've got a couple of videos.
It was great. It was so cool because even if you were just watching it happen, you weren't wearing the prison uniform, but everybody was chanting it.
Yeah.
I even screamed, "I can't swim!" That was only one point. There was one lass who turned to me and she's like, "What, did you really just do that?" I'm like, "Yes, I did."
Yeah,
I did.
Too soon, Dan. Too soon.
Some of the guys that were dressed in the prison uniforms had snorkels and rubber dinghies. they'd really gone all out. It was
That's
so
amazing.
Good.
One of the T-shirts at the Celebration store as well was like Keno Loy swimming school.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, there's such
man,
off the wall stuff that you can buy.
They did a jumper that was the Nakina 5 prison jumpsuit. And when I went to the Celebration store, I wanted to get in and get out as quick as possible. So I forgot a few things whilst I was in the moment, shall we say, and I'm a bit gutted. I'm hoping to go up on the internet when they sort of organise what they've got left. But that was mint, that was. We were about to walk off. Oh, shall we go find Rick and Nathan? Dan says. Diego Luna and Tony Gilroy have gone walk off, and then we
Nathan
turn around.
was with us at that point actually as well.
We turn around, and the Mandalorian music starts playing.
Oh
so I turn to Dan and I go, "Fucking stay here, man, stay here." And Rick Famaware and Katie Sackhoff come walking out.
Oh, superb!
And, we're like, "Oh shit, these people aren't supposed to be here till tomorrow. What's going on?" So, oh man.
Was that when they showed the trailer as well?
It was, that was just after they put the Ahsoka trailer on the screens for everybody as well.
Because Nathan was with us at that point, and we were all watching it.
There it is.
Oh, incredible!
I'm so gutted I didn't get Nita. We'll come to that later because there's a story. But mate, it was, it sounds so trivial, but we're there and we're seeing people that we're only used to seeing on a 9:16 aspect ratio screen in front of us in real life. Oh man, it's just so good.
Incredible. Just incredible. I loved as well when Tony Gilroy, actually that picture there, because previous celebrations there's not really been any swearing. And Tony Gilroy comes out and he drops an F-bomb on like stage with Kathleen Kennedy. I'm like, is he okay to say that? I'm really surprised. I'm like, you were just dropping F-bombs left, right, and centre. I'm like, this is fucking great. He just seems like such a typical like American like director. He's just brilliant. The way we were talking about it.
You told me about that the other day when we caught up, didn't you, Dan? And
Yeah.
I said it's fine because as long as he's not doing I forget his name, the guy who played Baze in Rogue One. As long as he's not spoiling the movie for anyone, it's absolutely fine.
I was sitting at home watching that live at the time, and even I was like, "Hey,
yeah."
I'm not speaking very good English, but when my guy died, this guy believed
he was
Force,
part of
something like that.
he was part of another thing, and he was my best friend, and he dies. It's like, what?
I think you were in that panel, weren't you, Dan?
Yeah, I was. Me and Joe looked at each other like, what?
We were watching it in the live stream room, and we just looked at each other and we were like, did he just say that? And Alan Tudyk's like scratching his head.
Yeah.
they all didn't know what to do, did they? They were all just red in the face and sort of looking for a corner to hide.
Oh, it was so funny there. It was a memory. It was
something they said, just talking spoilers. They were very vocal about saying that, you know, they're not skating around it. They fully intend to end the series with Cassian going to the ship to leave for the rings of Catherine.
Yeah, oh, really?
Brilliant.
So that was kind of was discussed, wasn't it, while Andor was in production, though, wasn't it, that it was going to eventually finish where Rogue One picks up.
It's going to be great to watch the series and then go straight into Rogue One and then go straight into A New Hope, to see how different that changes the experience.
Just to watch all that together is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
But moving on anyway, and speaking of incredible moments and incredible experiences, you didn't only meet the Clone Wars cast, did you, James? You bumped into a couple of people on the show.
Oh yeah. So we this is random days. This is so. I think, mate, Steve Evans. I think that was the Saturday. I was wandering around looking for Dan.
That's a common occurrence.
Yeah, it was, mate. It was mad. I was like, oh, where's Dan? Where are the boys gone? I'm lost. I was like, bloody hell, Steve Evans. So I wanders over to him and I just sort of calls out, "Oh, Mr. Stevie," and he turns around and is like, "Oh yeah, you all right?" And we sort of have a chat about where I know him from, his Instagram page, and said I'd followed him since he was on the Hasbro Star Wars team back in the day. And, what a guy. I mean, talk about fan outreach. This guy practically invented it. I don't think we've ever seen anybody on the Hasbro team be so fluent in communication with the consumers as he was. And he was lovely to talk to. Yeah. When I was growing up, before I got into Star Wars, there was a show called Alpha Teens on Machines. It was sort of tied into the Action Man brand over here. And back in the day, he used to work for the packaging design department. So we had a good chat about that. And he tried to convince me to go back and buy some of the older ones for the sake of nostalgia. I almost did it a few years ago, and I've got fond memories of that. James Arnold Taylor was the main voice in that. So, it was all, it was, stars were aligning. The stars were aligning. We were chatting about it a fair bit, and just asked him if we could take a picture, and there's that one. I mean,
good stuff.
And then, there's just that guy called Doug Chang. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh my God. I was so jealous of this.
This was the Sunday morning because we were all intent on having a lie-in. We were absolutely buggered, right? I'm awake at 5:30. I think, bloody hell, I can't get back to sleep. I want to go back to sleep. It won't happen. I'll get up, I'll go queue, bit of conversation. I'll go Celebration Store because there's only the sequel trilogy villains panel going on. I'm not really fussed about being in that. I thought, I'll go Celebration Store, get out the way. Don't need worry then. Because I'd heard somewhere online that whatever stock was on the shelves at that point was all they'd got left. Don't know how true that was. So everybody rushes off when they let us go. I take a steady walk. I know where I'm going. I'm not, I'm not in any rush. Fucking hell, there's Doug Chang getting coffee. I was like, holy shit. So I went up to him, nice and polite as you do. Don't want to be too disruptive. These guys aren't just there for our entertainment, do something. It's not that kind of situation. So.
Why won't it move?
Draw for me. Draw me a picture.
Show me how to draw the N1.
Give me a job.
3 films last year. There was 37.
Oh man, honestly, I felt like a bit of a bonehead after, because this guy's just waiting for his breakfast, and they did let us in 20 minutes early on the Sunday. So I don't know whether he intended to be greeted by a bunch of fans that day, but I saw him first, and I said hello. I had a lovely little chat to him about his artwork, because many moons ago when I was at college, that's what I was into, that's what I studied, and it's all because of this guy. And because of the behind-the-scenes featurettes on the prequels, like I fondly remember seeing him drawing stuff, and then you'd have George Lucas with his yellow stamp, and he'd come round and approve things.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it was Doug Chiang that designed the face of Grievous, but the one that always sticks in my head is they took inspiration from a toothpaste dispenser for that, and it was up to the crunch line, and it just that's the one that sticks with me. So I was talking to him about that. I didn't want to take too much of his time. Again, there's a common theme. I just thanked him. I'm so grateful to everybody that I met because of the work that they've done on all this stuff. I mean, without the guys that make it, that sit behind the scenes, that without events like this might not get half the credit they deserve, I think the least that we can do is say thank you, if nothing else. And he was lovely, softly spoken, as you know. I could listen to that guy talk all day. Asked me what my name was, spoke to me a little bit about drawing, and thanked me for my kind words. I won't bother you anymore. I'll let you get your coffee. Is it all right if I get a quick picture? And he had a couple of, I'm assuming, like assistants or some Lucasfilm guys with him. Took a picture. There we go.
That's awesome.
Man, it was, and then I thought, shit, Dan's not here. He's missing this. He's
at McDonald's. Of all places, and I got a message from James, like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I messaged my group chat with Nathan and Rick, because Nathan really wanted to see Doug Chan, because we went to the panel, and there is a story to that in a minute.
Oh, man.
But I was like, fucking James has just seen Doug Chan. And he's like, no way. I'm like, yeah. Jammy get.
I've just met Doug Chang, and he goes, I just get a text back, and this is how I read it to me. I go, fuck off.
That's how it felt. As I was sadly eating my soggy bloody saucy egg McMuffin.
Yeah, man. Anyway, there were other guests that we bumped into. I was with Dan, I think it was the Saturday. We were just walking up the main sort of stretch of the XL, and some security guards sort of as they did, and along walks Kathleen Kennedy and says good morning to us and asks us how we're doing.
Oh, nice.
Nobody booed her. That I've been asked this a bloody lot, right? Whenever I've said, "Oh, did you meet Kathleen Kennedy?" Somebody in Forbidden Planet that I was talking to on Saturday said, "Did anybody boo her?" I was like, "Well, no, they didn't, and she's not resigning, so quit it." Yeah. She was actually quite nice.
What did you say? No, we didn't boo her because we're not knobs.
Yeah. I think it was the Monday. I was on my own on the Monday because Dan and Nathan and Rick went back home on the Sunday evening, and I was just having a little wander around. I know it was the Sunday night. Sorry, it was the Sunday night.
Okay.
They finished the live stream. You guys had gone for your train, and I was just wandering around by the live stage. And they'd set it up like the Armourer's Forge this time. And they brought Emily Swallow out. I think she was there just to do a private meet for the Jedi Master VIPs. So she wasn't signing at the event or doing photo ops. But they brought her out for some publicity images with holding the hammer and what have you. And I thought, oh, that's cool. And I've been kicking myself about this for the last 2 weeks. Because then she comes out from behind the stage with no fucking security whatsoever, because me and Dan had previously seen her surrounded by bodyguards.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
And we were like, is that who we think it is? And you sort of non-plexed because you never see her without the helmet on or the costume.
Yeah.
And at that point when she comes out, she walks past me, she sort of waves at me and says hello. And I'm just in awe, and I'm like, there's no internet. I don't want to say, oh, hi, Emily. I don't want to look like a twat if I'm calling you the wrong name. And could have had a bloody picture with her and a conversation, man. There was nobody to stop you. But it's a good regret to have. I mean, I saw her. You know, she said hello to me. It was nice. It was cool. She had a little lounge fly on her bag. Bollocks to lounge fly, but.
I mean, you met. I mean, to be fair, like, okay, you didn't get to meet Emily Swallow, but let's face it, you got to meet.
The boys,
Star Wars
the OGs,
YouTube royalty, mate.
No, Dan Grievous and Star Wars fan Tommy.
Smashing
what legends!
Guys.
They're lovely. Honestly, the loveliest people you'll meet.
They really are. I met Tommy back in 2016 when we were queuing for the Rebels panel, and we were chatting for what felt like hours, but was probably minutes. And yeah, I mean, Tommy's been on the circuit, as we call it, for probably as long as we have. I think, if around the same sort of time, and yeah, he's got a collection that is. Whoa, it's up there, isn't it? It's in the echelons.
Tasty.
It's in the echelons.
Yeah, so jealous of Dan. He was showing us the little video from a previous celebration where Dave Filoni shook his hand. You know, that's a dream. But so down to earth, so great to just stand and talk to him again. It's just that everybody's there for Star Wars, and as soon as you're talking to someone, you just click. It's like, oh, what have you been doing? Have you done this? Have you done that? Oh, and I was looking at Tommy's pictures on Facebook that day, and he'd met the Clone Wars cast the day before me, and that got me dead excited. So that was a particular topic for conversation. And Dan was apologising for his previous escapades in the Facebook groups many months ago. We had plenty to laugh about. It was really, really fun. And I've spoke to him since Celebration on Facebook and Instagram, and it's great because I can honestly say I've made so many new friends from just being there. You don't have to meet people that were in the shows or the movies.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
You go to the panels. If you were doing that all day, if you were that Commander Cody in the background there, you were having fun no matter what, and it was great.
Oh man,
brilliant. Good stuff. So that, like, sort of kind of in a roundabout sense, because she said that you'd been to the Clone Wars panel the day before.
Yeah, so shall we just touch on Saturday then?
Saturday, I'd love to touch on Saturday.
So before the Clone Wars panel, we'll have to talk about the Ahsoka panel. That was
the build up to get to that.
That was an effort in itself, because the cheeky buggers didn't tell anybody until the Saturday morning that there was no standby on the celebration stage whatsoever. Now, we'd had a conversation the night before, Dan, hadn't we, about what stage were we going for? Because everybody would go for the celebration stage, ideally, because that's where the stars are. Everybody wants to see them in person. So we made the bold choice to go to the Galaxy stage, where it was streaming to, just to have the best chance of being in there and seeing it. So we get there at 5 to 5 in the morning. Or I get there at 5 to 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
And there were eight people.
I got your medicine, James. It's all good, mate.
There were 8 people in line. And one of them was, I forget the girl's name. Is it Zoe from Star Wars Geek Girl podcast? Her and her dad were there. Great conversation with them. It took a minute to sink in who it was until I got given the business card, because I'm an idiot and I was half asleep, let's face it. But that was a great experience. And I think Dan gets there half an hour later and there's probably 100 people behind me. And
throw me under the bus, boy. Throw me under the bus.
I'm like, Dan, just come and stand next to me, mate, because other people are doing it. And no one's going to say anything anyway, because half the people, everybody's there for a different reason. Right. So he comes up to me and he goes, "It's all right, mate. I've bought you pills." All right. Here's Dan. Nice one, mate.
Oh, what am I letting myself in for next month?
It's not too bad because we won't have to get up too early. But Kinal, I don't want to look at a queue in my life.
It's not as simple as it sounds, because being at the front of that queue didn't automatically say you were in there. What a morning of fucking worries and anxiety. Because I think you guys in 2016 queued.
This is what I really want to talk
the
about.
side of the building, and that was all closed off for building work, for maintenance. So we were at the other side, and they were letting us in through the loading bay area. So you would. Was it called the A-Loft or something? Or I don't know what it's fucking names galore, mate. It's the big, long, suspended walkway that goes over the train lines.
Yeah.
And they made you queue down there, and then security would let you in, and you go down the loading bay. But the issue is, there's no organisation. You go through in a slow, and they're like, don't come past us, so you're trying to keep pace and stay at the front of this line. And then if you get to security, you've got another worry in case you get caught by a detector or a random bag check, because then you're instantly screwed. Everybody else is gone. But we get through, and we get through. Then you've got to race. You've got to race the entire length of the hall where the queuing's happening, and you've got people going, "No bloody running!" while you're all sort of just, doing the lovely
shuffling like.
Anybody running, will go to the back. Oh, okay, miss. I'm sorry. So we get there, and we're still at the front. And then when they let the queue go, it's all happening again.
This is the thing that I really want to touch on that actually really pissed me off. And this is where I want to say 2016 was better organised in terms of managing people in regards to getting them into panels. So if we touch base on how 2016 was done, Steve, if you remember it, in the morning, you got up. It wasn't a stupid lottery.
No.
You'd just go and get a wristband. You'd queue up. Yep. It was up to you. It was down to you to queue up.
You sometimes wouldn't even have to queue.
You wouldn't even have to...
That's one of the things that really stood out to me when we went, because I must admit that was in 2016, that was one of my biggest worries, was the fact that, oh my God, I'm going to be stood in a queue of this many people. They're going to run out of wristbands, or, there's going to be all these issues. And then on some mornings, I think the first morning I went down to queue for a wristband, it was for the Ahsoka's Untold Tales panel. And I got there, and the queue was relatively big, but we got through it, and we all got a wristband. The following morning, went for another wristband for another panel, I forget which one, and there was no queue. It was just straight down to the bottom, to the little counter, got the wristband, went back to the hotel, got a couple more hours kip, went back down, and went into the panel. And it was so easy. So easy.
So, in terms of that, Rogue One panel, for example, me and my mate Joe, when we went, we got in the queue, we thought, fucking hell, we're not going to get into this, we've got here late. And the next thing we know, we get into the main live panel, I'm like, how have we managed that? So, with this, it was just there was just chill, because, okay, you know where you're at with having a wristband. You know where you're at in the morning. You just go in, you get your badges checked. Didn't you, Steve? You actually got your badges checked.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I think I was in as soon as I was in that zone of sort of, I'm heading into the XL, I'm on the way. I think I just got tunnel vision, and I must have just been let me in.
I do seem to really think, I know I must have been badge checked at some point. I really feel like it. But with this one, there was, it's only until he went out and back in again where they'd check your badges.
It's only until somebody stole £1,000 worth of merchandise on the Saturday that they started checking badges.
Could be that. So, if we jump back into getting into the panel for Ahsoka, as soon as they let our queue, because me and you were in the front, weren't we, James?
We were straight at the front, yeah.
James pegs it, and I kind of cotton on as we're halfway there, walking down this, because they frog marched us.
Yeah, they had Rebel Pilot cosplayers leading everybody down there, so that nobody could run.
There was a point where they had the security leading us, and then all of a sudden stopped, and you had a line of Rebel costumers, Rebel Pilot cosplayers, and there were people pushing into each other. There were people literally running round them, pushing out the queue to run round them. And I'm sure there were cosplayers pushing into each other, rugby tackling. There was a point where I had my hand on James's back and I thought, you know what? No, go James, go live your life. And I could see what was going to happen because you had to turn in, and I was at the very end. I'm like, fucking hell, I'm going to lose James because he's at the very.
Nobody knew where to queue.
Yeah.
So you go into the space, and it's like, do you go to the right? Do you go to the left? And luckily, there were a couple of guys in front of me that had been there the day before, and they were pretty clocked onto what they were doing. And we were right at the front, no question. And because of all the people that decided to sprint around like arseholes, the first full standby queue had already been filled. So we ended up in the second. Now, luckily, as far as I'm aware, everybody that filled the standby space got in. So I sort of looked behind me at one point when I was sat down, and you could see that they were just letting the last few queues of people in, but then turning people away. So you were about 7 people behind me or something like that.
You were having a grand fucking old time, you were. You were loving life. This is what I've really wanted to talk to James about. No, you're all good, brother. It was a joy to watch.
To be fair, we'd said, hadn't we? If we got separated, just fucking go for it. Because, you know, it's Ahsoka, man. Fucking hell, you know.
Exactly. So, I mean, when we were being frog marched, there was actually, when we were walking in there with these rebel pilots, there was someone pushing on to me. And I was really tired at this point. Like, I could feel my legs were like lead. I'm like, my fat body cannot keep up with this. And I just said, you know what? I'm not even bothered if I don't get in. I'm just here to have a good time. And I'm here with good people. And this rebel pilot cosplayer, she, bless her, she turned around to me and she went like this. She gave me a fist bump and said, that's the fucking attitude. I'm like, thank you. I don't want to bump into these cosplayers because you've worked so long onto these costumes. There's other people here who want to... I'm here for good vibes. You know, I want to see Thrawn, but I don't want to see anyone fucking dead because of this. Like, you know...
This isn't Leeds Fest.
Yeah.
We don't want to...
They nearly trampled somebody on a mobility scooter, didn't they?
I didn't see that.
Yeah. So as we were getting up just before we got to where the pilots were, there was because they let accessibility in half an hour, or they let them in before general admission. Naturally, you know, wheelchairs, mobility scooters, harder to get around than people. Give them a fair shot, right? And we're all walking down, and people just rush as this woman's coming out of one of the coffee places on this mobility scooter, and about 8 security guys had to just surround her and almost as if they were ready to throw themselves in front of the crowd for her. It was fucking disgusting, man.
And that's the thing where I thought, that for me was the moment where I thought, this is ridiculous. And I think I was slightly soured, because obviously I wasn't there with James. And James were I could see him, he was like in the distance with these guys, they're having a right laugh. It's like, I described this to Steve, it's like that scene from Superbad. Well, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's Jonah Hill's character.
Fucking coming for me.
Exactly. There's a scene where there's like Jonah Hill and this other like character, one of his like other friends, and then there's Michael Cera's character on the other side. He's just looking at him like really jealous, like he's having the best time, and I'm stood here.
Oh, Dan, I'm fucking sorry, man.
Because the thing is, there was like this couple that like got reunited. I think they must have met. I don't know if they were in a relationship or what, but it was definitely like, you're flirting. Just tell her you know you want to. I'm stood there because they'd like pushed towards. Like, for fuck's sake! I'm like, my legs are killing me. Can we just go in, please? I want to sit down. We get in. The seats are really fucking uncomfortable. Right?
Hey, it was full as well before standby got. It was rammed.
Yeah. I had 2 guys next to me that just looked really miserable. Their face were just like that, like all the way through it. No, you're fine, mate. Because I was just that thought, you know what, I'm going to fucking embrace this. I've got a guy in front of me with this hat on. He's going like, fucking put your hat down. I want to see Thrawn. Every time I keep like looking at James, like, can you see me crying? Can we see?
I feel shit talking about it now, but like,
no,
it's memories, mate.
I've got to say, the people I was in the front of the line with,
they were all mint.
They were great, man. There was this American chap called Alexander, and I had some great conversation with him, not just about Star Wars, but about life. and he was asking me where I was from, what I did for a living, and honestly, I can say I can count on one hand the amount of sort of prolific sort of conversation I've had with people like that. And I saw certain people that I've been in line with throughout the weekend again. I never saw that guy again. So if by any chance he fucking watches this, which he won't, because my looks shit now, spent it all at Celebration.
Well, if you did as much plugging to these streams as you said you did,
which I did,
then
probably better than me.
This is the thing, Steve. I said, I'll apologise in advance, not for myself. I said, if any of you guys do you know the YouTube channel Sithlord229?
Go on, James.
At that point, a fucking tumbleweed rolled past, and I was sort of gobsmacked at this, right? Because obviously,
Christ.
I couldn't move on the internet in 2008 for your videos. I was like, "Hey, have you never?" All right, then I was like, "Well, you know,
James,
I do
mate, I hate to break it to you, it's not 2008 anymore. That ship has firmly sailed."
Oh, mate, I proceeded to say, "Oh, well, I sometimes do live streams with two of my mates. These guys, check it out on YouTube if you get a chance." But massive shout out to the guys that I was at the front of the line with anyway, because they were all, they were all great. We were having a good laugh. I'm sorry that you weren't, Dan.
Yeah, cut to me, clapping like that, like fucking Fran. And there's these two guys just sat there, like this big, like British guy, just going absolutely nuts, and they're just stood there like that, like.
I've got to say, before we even got in there, it was great because I approached the event with the attitude of, you stuck in line with these people for hours, don't be a miserable bastard, speak to them. And I mean, if people start, like new starters at work, I probably won't talk to them for 3 months because the staff turnover's that crap. There's no point. So I sort of thought, no, but every bad habit, every sort of bit of anxiety, throw it out the window, because I don't want to go away and think, well, you should have spoken to these people. You should have made more of it. I wanted as few regrets as possible. So I was talking to them and we're having a decent time. And we get in there and I thought, where I couldn't see you. It was fucking pitch black in them rooms. So I turned around with every intention to sort of say, yo, come on, Dan, come sit with us. Like, couldn't fucking see him.
I did see a space near you. Yeah. I did see a space near you, but I didn't want to be the fat guy, like, let me come in. I want to join you.
No, but the panel so in itself, the panel was fucking great, wasn't it? I mean,
it was amazing.
To be amongst people cheering and clapping.
Yeah.
I'd never experienced anything like that. There was a little bit of it on the Andor panel, but this was all fresh stuff, all new stuff that people have waited years to see. And I think the two big standouts for me were obviously when they said, Dave Filoni, man. He knows how to sell something, because he goes, that trailer that we put out yesterday, we remixed it with a few other new little bits. So if you really pay attention, you might see a few different things. So I thought, right, just look for the Easter eggs. And then sort of in the main trailer where you have Ahsoka say, there's rumours of Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire, you see this loading ramp come down with smoke going off, and then it cuts to just a full-on reveal of him. And then everybody lost it, man. They could hear us from the bloody moon.
It's at that point as well, there's a camera flash that goes off as well. I don't know if you remember that. It felt like it was directly behind you as well, James. So I feel like the picture that's leaked online might have you guys kind of in frame, in shadow. I really like to think that, and I think just off the side there's me like that.
Oh, man. But there was that, and when they announced that Kevin Kiner would be scoring it.
That is so...
Oh, man. I was screaming at that. I was so happy.
That is going to add so much to that series, isn't it?
One of the Kiners was there throughout the weekend, and I'm gutted I didn't spot them. Dean, one of his sons, Corey from Wolfpack. You guys know Corey. He sometimes has them on live streams, and it would have been great to meet them and just say congratulations. But they did a stream some months ago, and like, oh, his dad's working on something that we can't talk about. And I thought, well, these two boys are the guys that are doing the Bad Batch, so why is Kevin not doing the Bad Batch? Oh, I hope he's scoring Ahsoka. And then when it gets announced, oh man, it means everything, because as they said at the panel, this guy gets it. He understands the story on a completely different wavelength than everybody watching it, because he writes the fucking music.
Yeah.
And oh man,
for me though,
that was unreal.
For me though, so when you were watching the live stream, there's like obviously the panel like that, but then off center there's like a space. It's like that's where Chopper will go when they bring him out to do his little thing with all the actors. And I was sat there thinking, no, there's a bigger reason for that. Because having been at Celebration when they did Rogue One, they had obviously who's the actor that plays Krennic?
Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn. He came out with a full garrison of stormtroopers. I thought, are they about to do what they did with Ben? Not quite, but I'll take it.
Can you imagine?
If they did that, I would have been absolutely spaffing my pants. But, right, it was fun, because the thing is, as soon as they say, this is Lars Mikkelsen, he comes out and he kind of walks with that Thrawn gait.
Oh.
And he's got the whole movement down as well, like really inquisitive. And you just think, and he talks really softly. Not like he's doing the full Thrawn thing, but he's giving that little taste of that, and I'm like,
a little bit of spice.
Oh, yes, yes, you sly dog.
I turned to Dan after the panel, and he were in tears. Like,
I can imagine.
I'm not a big emotion guy. Like, my mum thinks I've got some weird disposition, because like I won't cry at anything. It's really strange. Like, I'll feel emotion and then I'll get mad at myself because I can't physically sort of express it.
Yeah.
I can't, fucking hell. If I was an actor, you'd have to get all them chemicals under my eyes to get me cry. But I felt it in here. But Dan, I was happy for you, mate, because I knew how much it meant to you. And
I've seen this guy. I've seen this guy lose his shit when he found a Grand Admiral Thrawn Black Series in Toys R Us.
I remember that. I was watching your live stream. Like it was yesterday. and he grabbed us off the shelf. He's like, I'm so fucking happy.
It's not just that. It's when the kid then near me goes, is there a new Star Wars film coming out? I'm like, oh, bless you. Bless your little soul. You have no idea how happy I am right now.
It was like the most left field thing. Like, I'm just filming you and like, Dan, are you happy? And he's like, yes, so happy. And then this little kid just, excuse me, is there? He's like, stop filming.
Not just that, but then we're looking over at the till, and there's the staff members looking at us really gone out, and over with it. And I'm like, hello, can I have this, please? And she's like, oh, you seem really happy to have that. It's like, yeah, I tried the big Toys R Us. None of them. All gone. You're the only ones to have it. I'm so happy.
I miss that Toys R Us so much, because those staff like almost became like my dealers for a bit.
Mate,
I was just like going in like
an even shitter place when Toys R Us went under.
Like, y'all got any more of those Star Wars figures?
That's the only thing with Celebration I find really weird, is the fact that Thrawn for me he's always such a big thing, but I can never find Thrawn merch at Celebration. It's such a hard commodity to come by.
Yeah.
But my god.
When you were on about the guy taking the photo, just before the Clone Wars panel, I don't think anything else really happened on the Saturday of note, did it, between panels? It was quite a panel-heavy day.
It's worth noting as well, because we did see the picture earlier of the N1. Because I went to the panel of Doug Chan. The seats in there, if I'm going to give a quick review of seats, hella comfy. Given that I was stood for ages in the Ahsoka panel, then sat down in them uncomfortable seats. I met up with Rick and Nathan. We went to the Doug Chan concept panel. I got to have a nice sit down there.
Why did I walk away from you guys then? What happened there?
I think you went to the live stream stage to have a look what was going on.
I've got a fucking wank story about that.
Go on. I like a good wank story.
Yeah,
Oh.
because I
Hey,
said to you, didn't I? It's all coming back to me now. I said, "Oh, if we go to the live stage, they're going to bring out the guys from the Ahsoka panel next."
Yeah.
And the crowd wasn't really too amassed at that point, and you said, "Well, I'm going to find."
I was
Nathan and
exhausted.
Rick." But all right, mate, I'm going to go over there just in case they bring anybody else. And I think they'd started with just like filler guests. I think they had some guys. I say filler guests. That's a bit fucking rude. They had people on from the Acolyte talking about that. I'd been up since 5 o'clock. All right, bowel movements were happening.
Whoa.
I needed to drop the kids off at the pool, shall we say? Okay. I go and do my business. I come out the toilet and all I hear is I was like, fuck Mandalorian music. I sprint to the live stage and you could not get in. John and Dave are on the fucking stage and I missed them because I needed a poo.
Oh, man.
So I can see
I mean, I'd say
That was a
shit,
story, not a
it was a shit story, mate.
honestly, it wound me up. Not because I could see them, but I couldn't hear them. And this is the only negative experience I've got of being around people at Celebration. The people close to the stage were, engaged with it. They were clapping and cheering. And then as the crowd sort of got further out, they were all standing there like sheep on their phones, talking to each other. So if you wanted to hear what was being said, you fucking couldn't. And I was this close to raging at two lads because they were just there, yap, yap, yap. I was like, listen, if you're not going to take part, just fuck off out my way. Because these guys mean the world to me and I want to listen to what they've got to say. And if you're at Star Wars Celebration, you should too, all right? Now, I saw the infamous scene. I saw Dave take his hat off to everybody. But I didn't know what was going on until I saw it on the internet later that night, and I was a bit gutted by that. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Taking a mode in with you folks.
so yeah.
So don't go to Celebration with James because he'll stab a bitch.
that celebration stage though, oh my god, it was so rammed. And at that point I was knackered, so I went to the obviously I went to the Doug Chan panel, and after that I met up with Nathan and Rick, and they were plenty rested, and I was sat there. We went to Costa, and I was sat there dead. I was delirious when I hadn't had anything to eat or drink. I'll tell you what I actually had from Costa. This is a fun one. I had toasty. I had a cake.
This has really descended on it.
And I had this is like mundane like celebration stories. I had the biggest like Costa order I've ever had. And it was disgusting. And they just looked at me like, Danny, you alright? I'm like, yeah. I'm just like slowly eating into it like that. And then I got a call from James saying, oh Dan, I'm gonna be here. So I think we all met up. You said you were gonna go to the Tales of the Young Jedi panel, was it?
Boy, that was an experience.
Thanks for the sticker.
Yeah. No worries, mate.
To be honest, I was a bit fucked myself because we've been up since stupid o'clock.
Yeah.
And I think that was when I'd ran into Steve Evans. So after that, I was like, to be honest, because I've missed Dave and John on the live stage, obviously you guys know how much Dave means to me, just in everything that he embodies, right? I mean, I owe that guy a lot of my childhood. And I was determined if I wasn't going to bump into him by, any act of God, which from what I've heard, he walked the show floor like nothing. Didn't even go incognito without his hat. I guess he's just that popular now that he didn't want to risk the mad slurry of people.
So many moments where we were just like, is that Dave? Is that John?
Oh, mate, the double takes because everybody decided to cosplay Dave. Man, I was going to have an heart attack. Yeah. I just thought, bugger it, I'm going to go sit down somewhere. So I was like, excuse me, mate, what panel's on in here now? The High Republic, where, it's at capacity. I was like, all right then. I was like, I'm not much of a reader anyway. And they were letting in for Young Jedi Adventures just after that, about 10 minutes later. And I thought, if I can get in this and sit down, just have a chill. And I heard somebody say, "Oh, we don't clear the stages out after the main panel of the day." But the Clone Wars panel is on this stage after Young Jedi Adventures. So I said to a guy, "Listen, if I go in there now and sit through this, can you guarantee that I'll be able to stay where I am?" I know. It sounds so derogatory. I've got to ensure this.
Mate, if you don't ask, you don't get. Do you know what I mean?
And he's like, "Yeah, go in by all means. You can stay after the panel, and then you can sit there for an hour and their music and get comfy, ready for Clone Wars." And I think everybody twigged on because half of the stage was full 4 hours before the Clone Wars panel. And I don't think many people were there for Young Jedi Adventures, but I was mildly entertained. It wasn't half bad, to be honest. It was good fun, and we got D. Bradley Baker came out on stage before the Clone Wars panel, and he's voicing Nubs, which is just like, move over, Grogu. There's a new cute little alien in town.
There's a story to that.
And it was good. We got to see the first 2 episodes before the rest of the world. It was good fun.
Meanwhile, we thought, I wanted to go see the Clone Wars panel, so we queued up outside, sat on the floor, just looking at the stuff that we'd bought and amassed. I mean, I'd bought loads of Glub Shitto, so I was like buzzing over them. Then someone passes us these stickers. I'm like, who's passed us what are these? And obviously, we're all flicking through them. Nathan finds a Nubs one, and that's like the last one they had. So I was fuming. I'm like, I wanted Nubs. So it's like these 3 grown men just like slightly arguing over this sticker. And I'm like, I'll have that one. Actually, I'll take 2 because I know Steve will probably want one. We just passed them around.
So there was different stickers then, because we got handed a stack of Nubs when we were sat down, like pass one along.
No.
If I'd have known, I'd have just taken a few,
Yeah, I hadn't got the one on me, but there was like one of the group of them, and then I think they had individual ones. Yeah. And obviously the individual ones we were trying to find Nubs, and we couldn't. Only Nathan got that. And he put it on his badge, so he's got that as pride of place. So
I'll give them a bit of credit because they do like pre-panel games in between just to warm people up.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of kids on just doing like little Jedi activities, and it was all good fun. And they were giving out prizes, and they are they're advanced samples of some of the new figures and the Lego set from the series.
Oh,
and
wow.
You've got all these middle-aged men rubbing
their hands together. Oh, no.
You're going to get one of these things early, and they give them all to the kids.
Oh.
And it was the best. I was like, that's it. That's what you get for being a scalper.
Wow.
That's
brilliant. Was that a slight source of inspiration for you, though, James? Because that brings us quite nicely into...
it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
So we get into the Clone Wars panel, but we're sat away from James.
Yeah, might I add that my advantage paid off because I was like 5 rows from the front. So, and I can see the chair that Dave Filoni's going to come out and sit on, so I'm a happy boy, just to see him and speak to him, listen to him talk, massive shout out to Aussie Dave and Level Up Leroy. They were the DJs in the Galaxy stage the whole weekend, and honestly I think they were the best out of the ones that they got booked for the event. They had that one on the celebration stage that you're not too keen on, Dan. I can't remember his name.
Is it DJ Elliott?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and
to be fair, the games that they were playing on the celebration stage, they were good.
Yeah, they were all right. Yeah,
yeah.
But these guys on the Galaxy stage, they were just good fun. So I'm sat there, I'm just waiting for my Clone Wars panel, happy as you can be. They start playing a bit of a warm up game half an hour before the panel. I'm going to say a random item, and if somebody can get my attention and run to the stage with this item, then you'll win one of these. And they've got all the leftover posters from the showcase panel on the Friday, which is the lovely season 3 Mandalorian poster that I was very jealous I didn't get.
Meanwhile, can I just add as well?
Go on, man, mate.
Little addition, tiny little cut to Daniel again, right? So it was three sat there, and Nathan's like, "Oh, I've got Wi-Fi, the Hasbro stuff." I'm like, "Oh shit, pass it me."
Yeah, you were texting me.
So like, I'm messaging James, but I'm there scrolling through like Nathan's phone because he's the only one that's got internet. Because I want to look at all the reveals for like a kid basically, and then next thing I know, Nathan says, Is that James on stage?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "I'll look up."
You know, this. Oh, it is me. I was there. Ozzy Dave was asking for all sorts of stuff. He asked for a pen and unused plaster. I'm like, from where I'm sat in slap bang in the middle of people. And there were so many people rushing for these posters. It's like, I'm not going to have any chance. I've got a pen, but by the time I've got off my arse, I may as well sit back down. But actually, I've got a spare pair of shoelaces in my bag. If he happens to ask for shoelaces,
It was so random.
I went so far as to unzip the pocket in my bag and put these shoelaces just within arm's reach. And he says, and it was the last one he did. He goes, "The first person that can bring me a shoelace out of a shoe will get this last poster." I'm fucking out of my seat and I'm gone, mate. I was just like, "I'm sorry if I'm treading on you. I'm sorry." And I went up to the stage. I smacked the stage with my hand. I goes, "There you go, sir." And he just looked at me in complete disbelief. And he goes, he asked me my name. And he says, "I have seen people rip shoes apart trying to get a lace out to show to me.
My God.
That's the quickest anyone's ever done it." He goes, "Why?" And I just look at the audience, and there's thousands of people in this room, and there's phones in the air. And I just say something funny, James. Let's go, "Always carry a spare," and everybody just cheers. And I was like, "Yeah." So I did a little awkward bow, and he gave me my poster, and I rolled it up nice and neat, and I put it on top of my bag. I was like,
Then didn't they say come back to you? Because you'd kind of like gone off stage, or
no. So that jump forward to the Monday, which is when this picture was taken. So I had the panel for the Bad Batch. I had the lottery for it that day, and I still woke up at stupid o'clock. So I thought, I'll go, I'll queue up. I'll get to the front of the queue. I'll have a front row seat then for the panel. And I get in there, and Dave's the one with the microphone, and Leroy's the other guy, and he's there doing his music. And I thought, I'll just chuck in one of the shoelaces, just a bit of banter, a bit of a memento. And he pulls his microphone up and asks, "Ozzy Dave, people are throwing shoelaces at us." And he comes out and he picks it up and he goes, "Who here knows why this is funny?" Now, he's Australian, so anything he says is automatically funnier than it would be if somebody else said it, right? And he looks around, he goes, "Is he here?" And I just wave at him, and he's like, "He's there." And a lot of people were there for the Clone Wars panel, so they knew. And he looks at me, and he goes, "I'm going to make this into a friendship bracelet." And I just thought he was taking the piss. So I run up to him, and I say, "Let's get a picture, And so we got this picture. And have you got the picture, Steve, where it's just him on stage? He's got the fucking shoelace around his wrist when he comes back out.
That is amazing.
So I was just like, "Oh, what a guy, And if you watch the closing ceremony on the live stream, when it cuts to the Galaxy stage, he must have been one bored individual behind the scenes, because you can see that he's slowly plaited it into some kind of braided design.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it was just it sounds so stupid to half the people out there listening, but it was just such an experience.
It's beautiful.
That is absolutely amazing. Because obviously when we were planning this live stream over the last few weeks, and you were messaging me about, you're like, "Oh, I've got this picture, I've got that picture. Have I sent you the shoelace pictures?"
I didn't want to spoil it for you by telling you early.
I was like, shoelace pictures? What the bloody hell could he possibly mean by that? And every version of this shoelace story that I've planned out in my head was completely different to the one you've just told. So that is, I love the fact that it was just like you'd got shoelaces in the bag, and it was like, well, just in case he asks.
What it is, right? I'm a bloody nightmare for tying my shoes really tight, so I'll often pull the lace and I'll bloody snap them. And my girlfriend Laura, she just got a pair of yellow shoelaces with, I don't know, some boots or something. And I'm weird, so I like yellow shoelaces. I think, they stand out. So I think, fuck it, I'll look a bit different for the other people walking around town. So she said, do you want these shoelaces? So I had them off her, and they were on my table, and thought, I'll put them in my bag just in case I pull a blunder. Otherwise, what am I going to do? I'll be up shit creek if that happens. I didn't expect that, just what dumbfounded luck. The one time in my life that being an over-prepared idiot paid off all throughout that day. So I'm already happy as Larry sitting there with my poster, making sure it's nice and safe because I'm determined for no damage to come to it. And then obviously we get into the Clone Wars panel 5 minutes later.
God, what?
And I'm 12 years old again. What a lovely panel. And they said, nothing's going to be shown. If you want to get your phone out, let everyone in the world know that you're here. Take pictures, take videos, go for it. So I was happy. I'm a full believer of obviously experiencing it in person and not through your phone screen.
Yeah.
But I want, when you're at something like this, you want those pictures to take away as memories. And I knew at the time, it sounds really stalkery, but I knew at the time that was probably the closest I'd get to interacting with Dave in a strange way. And so, I've got a decent view of everybody that comes out. And I just, I thought I'll join in with the crowd. I'll shout some nonsense. And if you watch the live stream on YouTube, just as everybody sort of dulls down the clapping as they brought the first 4 guests out, Dave amongst them, and I just shout, "We love you, Dave!" And about 4 other people sort of follow on with this, and there's a bit of laughter, and you can just make that out. I thought I've got to do it, when in Rome.
Absolutely.
But it's a great panel. I won't talk about the ins and outs of it too much because they streamed it, so it's out there on YouTube.
Very emotional.
Emotional. Very, quite a throwback, And again, it wasn't like you were sitting in front of a bunch of professional people. You were sitting in front of friends and family, people that have been with you throughout your life for years and years. And it was very much recognition that everybody in attendance and that was watching at home, it's like, it don't matter where you are, they were fully aware that the fact that they had gotten such a success with this show and what it sort of spanned on to over the years was a combined effort of everybody, not just the guys working on it. It was, some of these panels, you can sit there and it's like the audience doesn't exist. They were fully aware of what they were doing. They were going back and forth with lines. And there's a lovely, lovely part when James Arnold Taylor's doing Obi-Wan impressions because he's talking about how he was originally cast for the Revenge of the Sith video game. And that was more Ewan than what he ended up doing for the Clone Wars. And people were cheering. And he said, oh, no. The real Obi-Wan's over there on the show floor. He's over there. And everybody just went, no. Yeah. And, oh, man. It was fucking lovely. And you can see how much it touched him.
Yeah. It's unbelievable to think as well. Sorry, Dan.
Oh, no. Well, I was just going to say as well, the end note particularly, it really struck to me because obviously we've seen the Clone Wars. We've actually, followed it every time it came out. And then they talk about Tales of the Jedi and what they're now... And listening to Dave say, oh, well, it's just this idea I had where I scrolled down ideas on a notepad and someone just picked them up and said, let's make these. And now they're going to take Tales of the Jedi and how they're going to forward that as a way to bring in new directors and new creatives and let them have a go at telling stories within obviously Star Wars universe and told
Yeah.
tales about Jedis. That really got to me because it was just like, you can tell, and the way how we were talking about it, we're getting really choked up because you can tell how thankful he is
Yeah.
for working on such projects, for having, George Lucas guide him, and now he's able to do that. And like he said, to try and continue, the growth of the animation within Star Wars. 'Cause I think animation works beautifully within Star Wars.
It's how he put it across as well, isn't it? He says, like any good Jedi, you should pass on what you have learned. So now I'm going to be a master to all the Padawans and apprentices that are coming up in the industry, and I'm going to try to do with them what George did with me, so Lucasfilm Animation stays strong for years to come.
That's awesome.
It was lovely.
I love that.
Got me really choked up.
He thanked the whole cast and crew that were on the stage as well, and that was quite an emotional one. Just that he let them know that he carries them with him, like everywhere he goes. They're always a part of him. He's always thinking about these characters, to the point where he said for Tales of the Jedi, he just made sure that everybody had a small part, so that he could, because of how scheduled his life has become, so that he could actually see them and see how they were doing.
All in one room, yeah.
I imagine in a lot of ways for Dave, it probably does hit home quite hard, because he probably thought after season 6 of the Clone Wars, he probably thought that was it.
Yeah.
Didn't he? Like, obviously when Clone Wars got cancelled very, very prematurely, I think a lot of people were like, well, that's it for Star Wars animation. We're not going, Rebels.
Yeah.
And
I was gutted as a kid. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it when the news came out that the Clone Wars had been cancelled. I can't remember where I saw it. I don't know if I was on social media at that point, but I remember it. I think I was out with my mum and dad, if it was like a food shop or just something random. And I remember reading it on my phone, and it was like somebody punched me in the fucking stomach. And I was like, right, so Revenge of the Sith picks up after that then? Because nobody knew at the time what the intended story was.
That's it. I mean, that's one of the things that, we spoke about before we went to do this live stream, is that obviously when me and Dan attended Celebration back in 2016, I went to the Ahsoka's Untold Tales panel, which at that point was essentially Dave and Ashley sitting on stage talking about the stories they wish they'd got to tell, and that they thought they were never going to get a chance to do. Even at that point, even following the Disney buyout and following the everything that was coming, and the how bright the horizon was looking for Star Wars at that point, Ashley and Dave, and you could see, and again, going back to what you said about how choked up Dave got on the stage this year, back then, Dave and Ashley were emotional wrecks, because they honestly didn't think that these stories were going to get finished, and they thought, Ahsoka's tale is going to have to, live on through books or through other forms of media. So to then see where we're at now with, that's the tales that those two were talking about on stage back in 2016 have now aired on TV. And now we're literally months away from an Ahsoka TV series in live action. It's just
not to be taken for granted, is it?
Exactly. It's unbelievable to think just how far we've come and how far they've come. And it's
maddening, because it is down to the love of the fans that the show got picked up for that final season.
Yeah.
Again, throwing it back to Corey from the Wolfpack podcast, because those guys, the massive Clone Wars fans, so they've always covered that sort of news. And I remember they used to do a round table every Friday, so I used to watch that whilst I would do me, cleaning all my figures and whatnot. And I remember, and I was watching some of their coverage of Celebration this morning, so it's been fresh in my mind that at the time when they were going to announce it again, it was just like a look back panel like this was, and I think Corey was the only one that was on the internet saying they're announcing a comeback for Clone Wars. You mark my words, everyone. And everyone thought he'd lost it.
Yeah.
And then I can remember it like it was yesterday. My mate dropped me off at the end of the street. I just got off a late shift at work. And I get my phone out, and I see the picture of the 332nd helmet poster Clone Wars returns for its 7th and final season. So I'm just like probably zigzagging the pavement at this point, watching that small teaser that they put up, and like I was so stupidly fucking happy. I can't get it's impossible for me to get across verbally how much the show
I can
means
imagine.
to me. So this weekend, this weekend celebration. I'm still there. I'm still there.
I'm still spiritually, you're there.
It's so surreal because I don't really like my job, to be honest with you, half the time. Who does? If you do, you're very lucky. Well done. So I don't think a day's gone by since Celebration that I haven't looked through my pictures or watched the odd video, just to cheer myself up in a sense. So for Clone Wars to feature so heavily, for the 15th anniversary to happen when Celebration came back to the UK, for me to have a chance to go to Celebration this time, there are people out there that go to every celebration, no matter where it's hosted. Just don't take these things for granted, because I try and consider myself a realist, and I'll often tell people you could walk out and get hit by a bus tomorrow. You don't fucking know. So to exist at a point in time when this is the entertainment that we get given, and for it to resonate with so many people in ways that some other shows and movies don't, it's just on another level. And I was talking to a chap last night about the Clone Wars on Instagram, and just how the different meanings and the fact that I was bullied as a kid all factor into the enjoyment of this show, to the point where it's almost a blessing now, in a weird way, that I experienced those things growing up. It was unfortunate at the time, but it's almost strengthened the connection that I've got to all these things now, to the point where it means much more to me than it could have otherwise. So in a way, if anybody ever called me a name growing up, took the piss out of me, made me feel like shit, thank you, in a stupid way, because now I'm happier than I would have been down the road, and those people necessarily might not be. So for the 10 seconds of thrill that it brought them to take the piss, it's now brought me a lifetime of enjoyment. So,
that is, bloody hell, that is eloquently put, mate.
I can't even follow that up.
I was going to say, this got deep.
No,
honestly,
so fucking true. Fucking true.
So well put, and I think it's something that we can all relate to as well, in that sense.
It was a good panel.
Bring it back.
we all, yeah. Let's not get all emotional and lovey-dovey. Yeah, it was a good panel. We had fun, didn't we, Dan? We come out and we were fucking over the moon, really.
Well, we were over the moon because as soon you then popped off to get your poster.
I liked it. I was like,
you liked it.
The Hasbro booth, because we'd made the decision to skip the Hasbro panel so that we could get into Clone Wars, because there was only half an hour between them. And, we quickly learned that wasn't long enough to queue up. So I fucking ran like a chicken to get a top loader for my poster. Because around Celebration, you're walking like this.
It was so packed.
I didn't want it to get wrecked. I didn't want it to get wrecked. Because I want to get it signed someday. Katie Sackhoff sold out, unfortunately, to bring that back around. So hopefully one day down the line, she'll do another con over here and I can get her to scribble on that.
Fingers crossed. I ended up going to the Hasbro panel because I had avoided it for most of the weekend, besides just having a look at the Chatterbox Chopper, and then I kindly loosely left away because they hadn't really shown anything on the booth. So at this point, they actually had stuff out.
Sorry, I'm not being rude. I'm listening. I'm checking the live chat in between just to see what people are saying.
I'm just warming myself up, because throughout the whole con, I was saying to James, I'm going to have a right dig at them. Can't wait to see the Hasbro lot. But I was like, I need to distance myself before I do it. So after the Clone Wars panel, I go there, and then I see, the guys who do the live streams that I usually rip piss out.
We were ready for war, let's be honest.
I mean, we were. But then as soon as I stepped foot, like a single little footstep in there, and I saw the Indiana Jones stuff because I'd already seen some of the stuff on the my phone. And as soon as I stepped foot in there, I saw the indie stuff. No, actually, it was the N1 Starfighter that did it for me, first and foremost. That was in the cabinet. I went, that's fucking nice. That's fucking nice. I need that. And then I start looking around and say, oh, God, it's the guys from the Hasbro.
Lovely.
Beautiful, right? So we get more in, and then we see the two guys that do the live streams. I can't remember their name. Is it Jason or...
Eric, and is it Emily that does the TVC stuff?
Yeah,
those two guys.
Eric's the chap with the beard, isn't he?
Yeah.
So they're both stood there, and you're talking to them about the figures they should do, and I thought I should be really involved with this. But I was just enamoured with the Indiana Jones figures they'd revealed. I was stood there. I literally said in front of him, I'm so fucking gassed for this. And she's like, gassed? What does gassed mean? He's like, oh, I'm excited. I'm pumped for this. Just thinking, what a nutter. What an absolute nut job.
As I'm talking to these guys, I basically go in with all intention to interrogate them about why they cocked up on the Black Series Jesse helmet. And they basically said, oh, we made a mistake. We're sorry. So... I'm in a good mood. Clone Wars panel, poster, Dave Filoni. Shoelaces. I'm not about to start, a slanging match by any means. I'm sort of saying, oh yeah, well you should do the clones from Umbara, the 501st guys, because it's dead easy. Quick repaints, make them with the removable helmets. Everybody will buy them. Massive Clone Wars love. 15 years. Yada. And I'm fucking hell, there's Indy with the idol and the...
Yeah, because I'm stood there looking at him like, yeah, no, man, look at that. But as soon as I pop my head up, that's the point, I think, where I kind of lock eyes with the main man himself. And he's there. And he's kind of just popped out, and his eyes kind of like we lock... I swear, we lock eyes. He's got his mask on, he's on the other side. He kind of goes... And he shuffles off into the back. But the thing is, who I'm referring to here is Patrick, who's the main head honcho of the Indian, I think, Star Wars line.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go over to him at that point and just be like, my dude, I'm so sorry if you've ever seen me on YouTube, rinse you. It's all in good fun. I know you guys are doing your job and you're trying to do it. Well done. Well done for the Indiana Jones figures.
Yeah.
I'll let the Star Wars
stuff. Do you want to get some of the pictures up, Steve, from the
boy.
Hasbro stuff whilst we talk about them?
Yeah, I was just about to say,
we've
got the Hasbro panel to go through because we're closing in on 2 hours, and I want to kind of keep this within the 3 hour mark, not to negate
that was my plan.
Because I think we're going to go quite heavy in on the movie reveals as well later. But and Hasbro, thanks to the wonderful team over there, they sent a press release over recently with absolutely tons of high-res images of all the different products that they revealed over the weekend at Celebration, and I can't show more because there's just too many, so I've condensed it. I've got every reveal, bar the Monopoly, because I don't really think we need to sit and talk about Monopoly.
No.
But all the figures we're going to cover, all the stuff, and this is where I'm going to get a bit more involved.
Yeah,
I feel like I've been just like you guys had your moment, and you've. To reiterate everything that you've said over the past 2 hours, guys. I am absolutely buzzing for you that Celebration has been such a memory-filled experience. I'm genuinely it's quashed the feeling of FOMO that I had living vicariously through you guys while you were at Celebration. Because while I was away for the weekend, and I was constantly on the phone, checking your stories, checking your photos.
Oh, the internet was bloody terrible. It's half of my stories have got typos and they're all disjointed. But
to be fair, mine was while I was out, it was absolutely fine. So I think I overcompensated in terms of communication.
Definitely did on the Saturday. As soon as I was walking back to the hotel, and all I had were messages from Stu, you were kind of half drunkly saying, "Dan, you coming to Star Wars Fan Fun Day?" I'm like, is there even a question to that? Yes, I'll come.
It was like, you're doing it.
You come in.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But yeah, like I said, I lived vicariously through you guys that weekend. I was like, when I had bad reception, I was like constantly refreshing the stories and just trying. Effectively, I think like your guys' stuff was the only stuff from Celebration that I checked because it was the only stuff that I cared about. So I'm absolutely buzzing that you had such a good time.
The best, mate. The best.
Yeah, thanks for sharing those memories. Really, really good stuff. So yeah, Hasbro panel and Hasbro reveals. Shall we kick things off with the main man himself?
Do it.
Chopper!
I need it.
Authentically voiced by Dave Filoni.
I'm not entirely sure how to summarize how much I need this toy.
From what we saw, it's sort of close to 6th scale as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I was expecting it to be quite, because I've got like the Disney Store interactive R2 up here, and that's, God, I can't even, I'm shite at maths, so I have no idea what scale it is, but it's like this big. It's like that big. And I was expecting this to be the exact same size because I saw the photos of it, the press photos of it, before I saw the video and the product on the show floor. So I was like, oh, okay, it's
really
tiny.
Cool.
But like when I thought, oh, it's small, but then I thought, well, that's fine because it'll probably fit in the collection somewhere. But then when I saw what it does,
yeah,
immediate sell.
Bloody hell.
Let's just say this, because this was the first thing they kind of put on the show floor, and I thought, okay, I think this is going to be a spenny year.
Has it got a retail price attached to it?
It's as far as I can remember. I should have prepared these notes earlier, but I have
they
not.
Say it's $70?
It's somewhere in the ballpark of about £70. I'm sure of it. Bear with me. I'll see if I can pull up the press release they sent.
$4.29 is just putting up the press release for Hasbro. We're just looking into the figures. We're going to get the facts for you just shortly.
I can't find it, but I think I'm pretty sure it's about 70 or 80 quid here in the UK. So
spent more on less, so we're good.
You can't put a price on Chopper, can you, though?
No.
You've got to have him.
I love it so much.
It's so daft.
Nobody else will talk to me, so...
But just get that's it. The next live stream, it's not going to be James sat there. It's just going to be Chopper. What do you think, James? But nah, I love it. I mean, it looks so good. Sculpt, detail, all that. So like, I'm not even bothered about the electronics because it's literally just going to sit on the shelf in my little droid corner. But I just think it's mint. I think it's mint. I was expecting it to be similar to the one that's available at the Disney parks. And I think that's why I was a little bit took back as to how small it is. But that one, if I remember right, is about 12, 14 inches tall. So I think it'd have been a lot spennier if it were any bigger. So perfect size.
It's quality. The only thing it's missing is a little flame or something in place of the wheel.
Yeah, that'd have been cool. Like a really elaborate display stand, like upscaled Black Series would have been good. But yeah, no. Is this a buy then?
Oh, it's a buy for me. What I was going to say though, do you know what would have been really cool? Because I'm assuming it takes batteries.
Yeah.
Do you know if they actually had the flame as a stand, where it was like a rechargeable docking port and it actually glows to tell you that it's actually working?
Oh man,
how cool would that be?
That'd have been good.
That'd have been nice,
still lovely piece.
Definitely.
10 out of 10. Do need it in the collection.
Absolutely. And again, a little we don't say it often enough, but thank you, Hasbro,
Thank you.
for not only the product itself, but for passing on all these images and the little video as well, the little advert that we shared a moment ago. Yeah, really good stuff. The next stuff I want to touch on is I thought we'd get through the stuff that we primarily collect first. So Black Series, it's a big thing for us, and we'll touch on because there was an amount of Black Series reveals, weren't there?
Yeah.
Bloody hell! So we'll get into the Return of the Jedi 40th stuff first, if that's all right with you guys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's me boy. Finally, again. Jesus Christ! How long have we had to wait for this? With his actual like hookah pipe and the slice crumb, and he comes in the box. It's vintage. Everyone loves vintage box. Oh yeah, boy, you love that vintage. Oh, you love that old vintage box.
But missed opportunity again.
Always.
Where's the
Yeah.
dais?
Mm-hmm.
Or dais, stage, platform, bed, thing.
Yeah.
Considering the price of this isn't
Exactly.
actually too bad, I wouldn't have minded if they'd have said like 120 quid and you get a bit more of an actual dio with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plastic and trapdoor. But this is actually the only thing I'm not buying from what's been announced.
Do you know what, James? Same, to be honest.
Guess it's just me then, boys.
I had the original release of Jabba, but his rubber around the mouth has started flaking. But I haven't got space to, to waste on such a chunky boy. So
That's the thing.
it just stays off the shelf for me.
I've got the original as well, but he's like, because my Black Series stuff is really tightly compressed into one of the narrower IKEA Billy bookcases, which is something that I'm not buzzing about, but space permits, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd love this to be more center stage in my collection, but like I said, it needs that platform, it needs that dais bed thing, because without it just looks incomplete. Like Jabba on his own from that original release looks alone anyway, looks empty, looks like he needs more stuff. But this is like, it's like, okay, well, we're going to add another piece, and gradually they're going to build up to that eventual giant release. And it's like, I want the hookah pipe and the stuff at the side, but I don't know. It's just not. It's good and I like it, but it's not quite enough.
Yeah, it's always going to be a missing piece because I don't think they're ever going to get Oola out there, and they're certainly not going to reissue Slave Leia.
What? And they're not going to do using a Ayla Secura sculpt?
No, they are not. If you know,
Really?
you know.
If you know, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Very
It
interesting.
isn't it? Especially since they look so
Deep cut
alike.
references.
I'm shook, to be honest.
To be honest, I wouldn't be too surprised if a TVC version was not far behind this.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be, hasn't it? Considering that the
Boba
Palestine
Fett throne
was-
room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's got to be out soon.
Massive shout out to the Hasbro guys again because of all the little displays they had set up. A lot of them were their own figures that they had bought over with them.
Yeah, I noticed
just
that
filled
because
space.
I'd noticed like the Power of the Force 8D8 and all that sort of stuff in there. And I was like, oh, I like this.
It's good. It's good because people always ask the question like, can what will this set look like next to this, or can you get these figures in? It'll happen. Bit of patience, Excuse me while I let me snoot it.
The only problem is with those displays is the fact that it's like when they re-released Slave One all those years ago.
I think you'll find that's Boba Fett's starship.
Sorry.
Yeah. Apologies for that.
When they re-released Boba Fett's Starship all those years ago, and if you remember, they put like the vintage OTC Lando on it and the OTC Lobot and all that sort of stuff, and people were like, "It's all right advertising these products with these figures, but these figures aren't available." So I think it's one of those things. It's like it's all well and good showing those things populated and with characters flooded in, but unless you're going to make those figures available, then I feel like that's all kind of redundant. For long-term collectors, it's fine, but for people that are new to the hobby, it's like, okay, well, where can I get that figure? Oh, you have to get it on the secondary market and pay at least triple what its original RRP was. So it's a bit of a, I don't know. I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. But we'll touch on population and world building. In just a little bit. But another Black Series product that was revealed and that I'm really keen to get your guys' thoughts on.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think this is a really cool and interesting reveal, considering one of the figures that we touched on in the side quest stream we did the other week. Because we talked about this in a little. We went in there.
Ghost Anakin. Yeah. Just a Hayden Christensen head sculpt for this one, but a cracking one. I mean,
yeah.
Oh man, I was chuffed. Dan witnessed me just, wetting myself over this one in the cabinets. It was so cool.
It is really good. I love that they've done it as a 3-pack as well and not done it individually.
Unique sculpt as well. It'd be dead easy. Just I said, didn't I, on that side quest stream, it's so easy just to throw an Anakin head on the Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
but they've done it right, and they've even used the new Yoda from the Dagobah 2-pack for the one there, opposed to the single card.
Which my only gripe with this one is because, like, if I do plan on picking this up, but I'm not decided whether I want to open it or keep it boxed, because it's just such a beautifully presented box set, and I know I've kind of slagged off vintage and said I'm bored of it and I'm bored of the black and silver, but the presentation box style packaging I feel is different enough.
Yeah,
do you know
it's
what I mean?
Almost like those. Is it like special action figure sets they used to dub them as?
Yeah, I love.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
I love those so much, and this is no exception. So there's part of me that wants to get it and keep it boxed, but like that, the fact that Yoda is at the bottom of that bubble and not in the middle, or the bubble's not a little bit smaller, just really, it itches. It makes my brain itch, and I just want to nudge him up a little bit.
I'm going to rip it open. Since we're talking about Steve Evans, let him breathe,
Yeah.
It's such a cool set. And I'm not even annoyed that I've got to get 2 figures I've already got, because I've got the Yoda one on my Last Jedi shelf and I've got Ben on the Empire shelf.
Yeah.
So to be able to put all 3 of these on the Return of the Jedi shelf, that's wicked, that is. I'm happy.
See, this is one of those rare instances where when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's 2 sort of repacks and repaints. And then the little light bulb moment went off and I was like, but I haven't got the originals. So this is perfect. So I don't mind this, repacks and repaints done right. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Hopefully that Anakin sculpt, it's not the only time we'll see it. I want to see that on an updated. I said there was a cool guy at the Hasbro booth, wasn't there, Dan? Not one of the faces of the company, but he was quite knowledgeable when it came to the Clone Wars.
Because you asked him about like what clones they should do, and he did list off pretty much.
He was naming them, man, and he even said, "Would you like Pon Krell?" And we were like,
I was just like, Pon Krell, if you can do me old Spider Boy, old Trench old boy, you give him all the old different arms and bits, give him all that.
I said this would look great on a season 7 Clone Wars Anakin new body, from the scene where he's rescuing Obi-Wan on the bridge.
That's it, because all they'd have to do is modify the bottom half of the figure and shorten those robes up a little bit, and then boom.
I think it's long overdue for a new Jedi sculpt anyway, now that we've got pinless.
Yeah, definitely.
The old one was kind of pinless anyway, but the Anakin one's more dated than, let's say, Mace Windu or
That I'd go as far as to say I don't know whether it's just my sample, but my episode 3 Anakin is one of hands down the worst Black Series figures that I've got. Because the joints are so loose and rickety, and he's just not fun to handle. He's just not
you can't pose him well. You can't pose him well at all.
First wave wants it that had major QC issues.
Because on mine, his ungloved hand, the joint that it attaches to, I think I touched base on it in my review years ago, but the joint that his hand hooks into isn't a complete joint. It's like a hook like this.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It's the hand like a horseshoe.
But then the hand clips in, and then you can just pull it straight back out. So as soon as you try and bend his wrist, it just flies off, and it's not very good. But yeah, this I'm all about it. Really, really excited about this one. For definite.
Yeah.
I think this comes in at a similar sort of price to the Chatterback Chopper, which I'm not buzzing about, considering that it's 3 figures.
What is it? Is it 80 quid on Pulse?
It's 80
Yeah.
quid on Pulse, yeah.
Right.
Which
Bit of a controversial one, but just to get this out of the way, anything that's like a Pulse exclusive, because at the minute, I know Star Action Figures posted about this the other day, they're being absolute muppets and they're listing stuff before the embargoed time that they're telling the fan sites to list stuff.
Oh yeah.
So naturally people are rushing to Pulse, and it's almost like they're trying to get in front on sales compared to these fan sites. Bugger that, right? If it's a Pulse exclusive and none of the other sites have got it, In-Demand Toys will do import stock. So I've paid import stock for this, and it's only a tenner extra. But I would rather pay that knowing that it's going to a business that actually appreciates the people that they're getting custom from. And I'm trying to pull a fast one. So for anybody that would buy from Pulse, just have a quick look around, because there are other places that deserve your money a lot more.
That's the thing. I mean, as much as I want to use Hasbro Pulse, I really do, because there's so much stuff on there that's still available on Pulse that isn't available through other fan channels. And it's like, I just can't bring myself to do it just yet because of the underhanded tactics, let's say, that they've used in other, with regards to other releases. But yeah, I don't know, that it's with inflation and what have you, it feels like a reasonable price, but at the same time, I'm still in that mindset of a Black Series figure is 20 quid.
Yeah, I know.
And I know that's not the case anymore, but to me, this shouldn't be any more than 65, 70. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just me being tight and stingy. I don't know, but
I can't comment right now.
I know you can't.
Yeah,
I bought the exclusive.
Traitor!
As much as I was telling Dan at the celebration, as much as I moan about Hasbro, I still end up buying 99% of what they come out with anyway, and I will pay import stock prices because I'm impatient. So.
And that is where they've got us over a fucking barrel.
They have, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of having us over a barrel, I'm going to be buying another character that I already have, but because it's a new sculpt, I'm having it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, love it. A bit annoyed because it's like all the other Astromechs that I've got are now out of place completely.
Yeah. See, this is where I'm happy that I've only got. Well, I've got both versions. I've got both versions of R2. I've got Dagobah and plain flavor, and I've only got the R5 unit from Galaxy's Edge. Astromech wise, I've not been fortunate enough to find any of those other packs that they did. But this figure, holy hellfire!
I love that it has a storage space. That's
Looks
something
great.
that really gets to me with figures when you don't have somewhere to store the accessories, and the fact that you can put it inside the head.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's something from the expanded universe as well.
That's what I was wondering.
About. So it is actually from a bit of source material. So you know,
I'm going to say, I thought in that image, I thought I'd seen it somewhere, but I couldn't place it. But I was like, at first, I thought, oh, it looks like a Pez dispenser, but I knew I'd seen it somewhere. But what I love about it, and we're not going to touch on it in this stream because it was revealed after Celebration, but obviously this Monday just gone, we got the R5D4 reveal from the Mandalorian, and that droid, I will be honest, I honestly thought that they were just going to repack the original R5D4 on a Mandalorian card back or in a Mandalorian box. But the fact that it uses this brand new sculpt, I am over the effing moon because I haven't got R5D4 yet. So I am absolutely buzzing about this one. Really, really happy about it.
I have an R5D4, but I need another because I need one to sit on the Mando shelf. So it's all good.
I was just about to say, that solves your issue that you had on your YouTube store, didn't it?
It solves it.
Mine's always sat on the episode 4 shelf because the Mando stuff's getting so overcrowded, but it don't fucking matter. I'll still buy them.
No, but honestly,
space is out the window. You know.
Perfect figure. Really, really happy with that release. Next, we have Darth Vader. How we feeling?
Yeah, it's all right. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got enough Vaders, but I am happy to replace that early one. That the original release of Vader, shall we say? Because I was looking at that today, and that's a janky piece of shit. Now that is.
It's not good, is it?
Nah, the robes are just horrible. So
Yeah.
The arm, you know, less
The
said about
joints,
that, the better.
everything. I'm wondering whether this is a retool of sort of like the ESB Vader that they did, or whether it's a brand new sculpt. Whether was that something that they touched on at the booth or at the panel, or is it brand new?
Don't think
Not
I
off
asked
the
them, to be
top
honest.
of my head, yeah. I think it's probably going off the old base mold and then a new head and a new forearm.
Mm.
That's what I would imagine. I mean,
Mind you, I'm saying the ESB Obi-Wan. I'm saying the ESB Darth Vader. Sorry, it's going later. Seeing ESB Vader. What I mean is the Obi-Wan Kenobi Vader. This is probably going to be based on, I would imagine, with some slight tweaks made. But I love the fact that it's got the removable hand. This looks really good.
They had it really well posed up with the Luke, actually. You know, in the scene where he takes the helmet off.
they
That
did.
was
I
kind
saw
of
that. Yeah, I saw that. It does look really good, and I love it. I'm a sucker for a 3-piece Vader helmet, so this is
I just hope the cape's a little less Batman this time.
Yeah, it needs to be shortened. Let's
it looked good though. It did look good on the display that they had. So
yeah,
hopefully,
definitely. And to complement that, we've got Jedi Luke.
Oh no, it's another Luke, but I need it.
hey Steve, is that the correct outfit?
Oh,
low blow, sir. Low blow.
That was a sneaky little jab.
Sorry, man.
I'll let you off.
I love you, really, bro.
Yeah. For all intents and purposes, I'm gonna guess that this is just Mando Luke without the tunic.
Yeah, I think pretty much what they did with the Mando one was be cheap and cheerful so that they could get 2 out of it. But it's welcomed. The original one's alright, skinny thing, so this one's just better. The Mando one's a fantastic figure, you know.
It really is.
Very good, so I'm happy to get this one. Again, the only thing I haven't pre-ordered was Jabba. I think I got everything else. So I'm a happy boy.
Nice one. I think this is probably going to be one that I sit on for a little bit and wait until it maybe drops.
Yeah.
For the sole reason that I'm just glancing over at my Return of the Jedi Black Series shelf now, and Luke is somewhat of a bit player on that shelf because I've got sort of like Boba Fett and the Gamorrean Guard and Leia Bouche and the Emperor on his throne, all sort of front and center, and Luke's sort of tucked away at the back. So I've kind of adopted this mentality of, well, if I can't see the figure predominantly on a shelf, I'm not in a rush to update it because I can't see it enough. So
fair point,
I can wait, but I'm really happy that they've done it. Jedi Luke is hands down my favorite Luke costume. I'm all about this. Anything with pinless articulation is always a winner in my book. And then I think to round out the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi Black Series stuff, we have the Royal Guard, which
it's all right for the people that want it. It does command quite a price on eBay now. So if you missed out, but
does it have a slightly different finish? Because from what I remember,
it looks like it, doesn't it?
Because it does look glossy on the helmet, which is really nice.
Yeah,
because the other one's a bit.
It's a bit flat.
Yeah,
it's got like a bit of a matte finish on it, hasn't it? Whereas this one looks a bit shiny. That's one of the only things that's really kind of not suckered me.
You're telling me that now.
It's one of the only things that's kind of like not suckered me in because I haven't purchased it. But with that carbonized Royal Guard that they did, I was like, "Ooh, do you know what? That actually works there. Maybe not so much on the robes, but definitely on the rest of the figure."
We already bought 2. I can't buy another 2 more.
No, but I mean, think about that carbonized one that comes in that 2-pack with that TIE fighter pilot.
Well, I try not to think about carbonized things.
Well, yeah, I know. Me as well.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, completely.
Certain elements when done right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the few instances where it maybe works better than others. But
yeah.
For me, I don't know. I think now this is another one of those figures that's starting to approach outdatedness. And it could definitely do with a bit of a tweak and an upgrade.
Would not be difficult to stick one out as a new mold, but make it the Rebels version, and then include the robes and the different helmet.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I think for me, one of the things I want to see is go back and redo that Senate Guard from Force Unleashed, but stick the Royal Guard helmet on the new Stormtrooper sculpt.
Oh yeah, because it is more Stormtrooper based armor, isn't it? They
Yeah.
just released this when they released that. Yeah,
Paint
that'd be
it
good.
black. Paint it black. Chuck out a Shadow Guard while you're at it as well.
Well, give us a Star Killer before I lose my brain over that one again.
Oh well, I would much rather see a Kana Jax, please, because we've already got Kirk constantly got it mixed up the first time, and I'd like to see a 2-pack of them where it's actually corrected. Thank you.
But yeah, it's all right. I'm just trying to. I'm just in the process of pulling up the other slides.
Just pulling up the other slides right now, everybody.
Just pulling up the other slides.
Just pulling up the other
I'll
slides.
fill that void then by mentioning, obviously.
Oh, too late. My boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Yeah.
Just more.
Oh, I need it.
He's,
Yeah, it's cool.
It's going to sit
Happy.
nicely on my mall display.
How are we feeling about? Because I've heard like different takes on this one. How are we feeling about the Gaming Greats label? Because I saw it and I was like, Gaming Greats? What? Rebels? And then there are some ever so slight differences between this outfit and his Rebels outfit, and I'm like, but it's still Rebels. So
Would it have killed him to just give him fucking walking stick? I just wanted a
From
walking
the hood,
stick.
yeah.
I'd be happy. I would have been really happy if they gave him this walking stick, but they didn't do that. I'm not happy about that.
I agree with you, Dan. I agree with you.
It's not hard. I have to make one myself. 3D print it. Bosh.
I was just about to say, boom. I mean, for the most part, though, like from the waist up, brand new figure, looks like.
Yeah, it's not far off, is it?
Packaging art's weird though.
It is, isn't it? It's very dark.
Weird, and it looks like clean. His face looks really clean.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think it's aged appropriate for the character, to be honest.
Yeah.
So,
No.
is it a reuse of the Clone Wars head or the one from the comic
think
book
it's
line?
I really
I think
think it's new. I think it's
It
new.
is. Because I don't think I don't think his grimace is as prominent on the Clone Wars one, is it? As it is on.
I was
on
thinking,
this
I
one.
was just having a look at it. I've got it here. Yeah, it's sort of just gritted teeth.
Mm.
It's my
But it looks good. It really does look
Oh
good.
yeah,
Like
I was really pleased with that.
any excuse to get another Maul thrown
yeah.
in on a different shelf, because I've got a shirtless Maul on my Gaming Greats and comic book shelf. I've got a Phantom Menace Maul on my Phantom Menace shelf, and I've got a Horny Boy on my Clone Wars shelf, and I'm ready for another one on my Rebels shelf, because that's where he's going.
Oh, definitely. The Rebel shelf's far too empty. There's so many characters needed.
Yeah,
It's baffling, honestly.
I think that's where mine will go. To be honest,
Definitely.
Don't fill you with much hope, does it? The fact that it's not in a Rebels box as well.
Yeah.
'Cause if it was, then you'd possibly
Would we be
think,
getting
maybe we'll get some more. But
Yeah. It also makes me
Callous.
wonder as well. I know they've touched on it, but it also makes you wonder when the plastic's going to return, because obviously they've said that the plastic-free
Yeah.
packaging is on the way back out, which is
I've got a theory about that.
theory away.
So, Star Action figures as one of the waves for either the end of this year or next year, listed as only containing 4 figures in a wave, and we haven't had a 4-figure wave since the Ventress Bad Batch one a few years back. So I'm wondering, now that plastic's making a return, are they going to take up some empty slots in waves by reissuing all the figures in the new, the old packaging?
Yeah,
Because
that
they know
makes
they'll
sense.
get packaging collectors to buy them.
Mm.
So is that or I don't know.
That was my first thought, to be honest, when they announced that the plastic windows were returning. Was okay, so we're going to see a hell of a lot of reissues. I'm hoping that they don't go the route of reissuing every single one. I appreciate it from a minting box collector standpoint that there are people out there that want that. But I would hope, for the purposes of not clogging the pegs, that and further discounts on stock, which I never complain about a good discount, but to me it just doesn't make business sense to oversaturate the market with that many re-releases that people aren't going to buy for then to have to discount it at a later date. So I'm hoping that they're selective with the figures that they re-release. I think sensible choices like Scorch make sense.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Don't do it with every single one.
Maybe not every figure, but maybe just some of the ones that did actually prove to be quite popular, that did sell out rather quick. Might be a good way of getting some of the previous exclusives into mainline for some people, especially in the US, because I know that I think I don't know how it works, but I've always assumed that as an exclusive, it is timed for that year contractually, just from bits of knowledge that I've read here and there.
Possibly,
so it'd be nice. It'd be nice because it's pants in America when exclusives come out, because unless it's a GameStop one, really, it's pot luck. Whereas we take them for granted because every site over here lists them.
Yeah, we know where it's going, don't we?
Yeah, I'm glad plastic's coming back. They did try and sham it by saying, "Oh, it's going to be PET plastic, so it's good for the environment." It's always been bloody PET plastic. The logo's on the sodding box.
This is it.
You can't fool us.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when the windows were in play, I always used to recycle my plastic bubbles anyway.
Yeah, they're the only Hasbro line that actually separates.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, personally, I hope that the cardboard hook stays. I know it's like a really minute, stupid little detail, but the cardboard hook on the top of the box, that could stay, because when I do recycle my Black Series boxes, I'm always trying to peel that plastic hook off the top and then recycle the rest, and that is a bleeding nightmare to try and get off. Whereas with that, at least you can just lob it all straight in the bin.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I don't know. I've made my feelings known about plastic-free packaging before. I mean, for the most part, I don't keep these figures boxed anyway, so I couldn't care less rather. But you know, it is what it is, isn't it? But Maul, I love it.
Yeah. Big thumbs up.
He's just a sexy boy. Sexy boy.
Holy sexy boy.
Next up.
Yeah, the pitch doesn't do this one justice.
It doesn't, does it?
Yeah. As we discovered.
Yeah, when we saw pictures of it, like, it looks kind of yellow. Like,
it's
off
much
yellow.
whiter in person.
Yeah. So I need it.
Which is good, because the bloody... Is it the 187th Battalion clone? I've got figures from 2008 that are brighter than that, boy. We saw one in Forbidden Planet whilst we were at Celebration that had got an upside-down belt.
Yeah, we did actually.
It got an upside down what?
Yeah, it had an upside down belt.
Yeah.
It's like the belt on it was like the wrong way.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you said bolt. I was like, what?
Bolt. Oh, yeah.
Hey, not worse.
Yeah, that were a fucking little figgy.
I must admit, like, as soon as these guys started popping up more regularly in Bad Batch, and as soon as we got that first Republic Commando figure, I thought, this is happening. At some point, whether they release it under the Bad Batch banner, whether it comes under, like, the Expanded Universe banner, like this boy, you know, it's going to happen eventually. And do you know what? I'm not even mad.
Nah.
No, me neither.
It's worthy.
That mold is here to stay now, regardless of how many people dislike it.
Yeah.
So,
do you know what? I'm not in a rush to get it, but there's nothing wrong with it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm going to pre-order them all on May the 4th because I'm a schmuck.
Schmucky boy. Never mind. But on the subject of Bad Batch, I am at war with myself about these. I don't know what to do.
Oh, mate, love them. I was originally against the idea because I haven't got much space on the Bad Batch shelf.
That's what I mean.
But they haven't been. I thought they'd be cheap about it and do as much repainting as they could, and there's a lot of new stuff actually. So
yeah, there is on most of them. I think like some of the figures don't really necessitate new tooling. Like Wrecker is essentially the same, isn't he? Like there may be a different shoulder pauldron here or there, but for the most part, he's effectively the same. There are a couple that I think I might get. It's going to be weird because like I think that some versions of these characters are worth picking up more than others. So there's like part of me that wants to pick up 102, but then by the time I do that, I'm going to be like, well, I've got 102. I might as well get the whole fucking team.
Yeah, good. Can't just dip a toe in. You've got to get them all.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter, for example, I really like the look of this one.
The colours are just so vibrant. They
are,
it's something
aren't they?
so like originally I was like, I don't really want to get like I'm happy with the Bad Batch I've got, but then I'm like, but they're so colourful.
Yeah.
I didn't like the designs when they first appeared in the show, to be honest, but they make better toys than they do CG models.
Yeah.
They're
I agree
really,
with that,
really cool.
Definitely.
That's probably just because I've got such an attachment to the actual clone designs, you know.
Yeah.
They look great figures. I'm pleasantly surprised with them, so I'll get them.
Me too. I mean, one that I'm definitely going to get, mainly because I prefer her season 2 look over the season 1 outfit, is Omega. And I love the fact that with this one, they've included the closed bow, or the blaster, and an alternate head.
They've even put a handle on the active bow.
That was something we noticed,
Yeah, this is just like the definitive version. It's so cool.
It is. It's a really good looking figure. I can't make my mind up whether this is a render or whether this is the actual thing, but either way, it looks really good.
I think it's the actual thing because they had the figure on display at Celebration, didn't they, Dan?
They did, yeah.
It looked just as good as that as well.
Yeah, really like that one. Really like that one. Probably the one that I'm not that bothered about is Echo. But I don't know whether it's just me, but the head sculpt on this one looks different, and I can't tell whether it is or it isn't. But it
doesn't look as ghostly, does it? Because
I think this one looks ghostlier. I think this one looks just from that picture. I think it looks more like sunken in around the cheeks.
So I've got some. If I can find the album, I've got some pictures that I took. I can, confirm it while we're. If I can find
awaiting confirmation.
If I can find the Sodding album.
I've got more of their helmets on. That was a choice on my part, wasn't it?
Well, I've done a little bit of both with mine because I think some head sculpts in the Bad Batch line are better than others. Like, I'm still not sold on Crosshairs. I know some people love it, but for me, it just doesn't look like him.
Right, so same sculpt, different paint. Ooh. That's all I think. It's there just a little sharper, and the bolts on the head are a little different.
There he is. So there's my boy. No. There's my boy.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Moment of silence, please.
Yeah. Oh man. On the Monday, when I was queuing up to get in, there was this girl in the line, and she was watching the last episode in the line because of the panel happening. That was a whirlwind of emotion for everybody there. That was a good panel, though. That was a good panel.
Oh wow!
Good trailer, lads. I won't spoil nothing because I want you to see that when it gets released.
I can't wait. I'm really, really excited. Really excited. I have heard the little tidbits of information that came out of it, like that Wolf's coming back and all that sort of stuff, which I thought had to be given at some point. Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, I was so happy.
Yeah. So what are we saying about the Bad Batch then, guys? Are we all in, or are we going to be selective? Are we waiting for discounts? What are we doing?
All in, and if they get discounted, I'll buy another tech to do a head swap with the original.
I must admit that was my first thought. Like with that bunch, I thought I definitely want Omega, but if I only get one out of the bunch, then it's going to be Tech, just for the fact that he's got that modified helmet and the goggles. Because I think that's
no data pad again, but
I'm really split.
3D.
I'm really split.
I think it'll be one of them, won't it, Dan? For me and you, it'll be like we'll say we'll wait for discount, and then I'll get a message off you in a couple of weeks' time after they've been revealed and been like, guess who's been a bad boy?
There'll just be an Instagram story. I've been to Forbidden Planet today, guys.
Yeah, that'll be it. The next reveal from the Black Series is not so much controversial, but it's an interesting choice given what got released on Mando Mania following Celebration.
Yeah, boy.
Oh yeah. Looks good.
I mean, we've already talked about this at some length, haven't we, James, about whether or not, because you've pre-ordered the 2-pack with Cobb Vanth, haven't you?
Yeah, obviously
And
this
the
went
two-
up the day before that got revealed.
Yeah, it would
Well,
do.
actually, whilst I was pre-ordering them, I got a message and it was like, have you seen this 2-pack? And I was like, what 2-pack? Goes to Yakface on Instagram. There it is. You bastard. I'm just bloody bored.
But I must admit, I saw that 2-pack get revealed and I thought, oh, that's crafty. But then at the same time, I thought, this actually makes a lot of sense. This is a really good way to do this. Like, Cobb Vanth, without all his armor, isn't necessarily a figure that everybody's going to want to buy. It's not going to tickle everybody's pickle,
I mean, it's one figure that some people have managed to customize poorly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I bet those people feel pretty silly right about now. But I mean, what I really like about this as well, though, is the fact that it's like it offers up a variant, which I think is something we don't tend to get very often in the Black Series. Is variants where, you know, you've got the mainline release, which is what we're seeing on screen, but then the one that comes in the 2-pack's got a different head sculpt, which I didn't realize at first. But this has just got more of a.
It's different as well.
Yeah, because it's got all the attachments, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got the.
Which I love that
effect
as well. I think in some respects, I think what they should have done is, I mean, they probably weren't. That was probably never going to happen, but they should have revealed the 2-pack at Celebration as opposed to this one.
Yeah, you'd have thought they'd have kept them at least a few weeks apart.
Yeah, I think the 2-pack's more of a ooh wow kind of release. This one's sort of. What are you thinking, Dan? What's up? You all right?
You're right, mate.
You having a crisis?
Because I've just realised, didn't realise they had two different faces, and obviously I've got the Hot Toys one on pre-order.
Oh, so you're thinking one for the shelf?
I'm thinking one for the shelf, one the Hot Toy boy.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, just do both. Just do both.
No, I've got to squeeze him on there with book mobile phone. I'm going to do that. I'll work it out. I'll work it out.
Incoherent mumbles.
Incoherent. I'm going to work it out. I'll figure it out. Space!
Finally, more from the Black Series, we have drumroll, because I am. I don't have the space, but me want.
Daddy! I haven't pre-ordered it yet either because there was another thing that just slipped. Just did the little.
It just slipped in.
It slipped in, but
I cancelled my pre-order of the regular one this week so I could get this one instead.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Just make a bloody Captain Rex one.
Oh no.
I need it.
It's good, isn't it?
It's
it
so
looks really,
the
really
paint
good
as well. I saw a lot of people moaning, saying it was too red, but the paint's two-toned, so it literally looks like somebody's just fashioned it together in 5 minutes. It's cool.
Because we were looking at it at the Hasbro and it looked mint.
Yeah, it's cool.
I need it.
And I sort of knew this was coming. This was rumoured for quite a while, I think. It's a no-brainer, though, isn't it? I mean, how many times are they going to reuse this over the next 5 years?
I was just about to say, do you know what would be really cool though with these helmets? I think if I'm all for doing all the different legions, like a shock trooper helmet, I think would possibly just tip this one off the pedestal a little bit. I think I'd be in for a shock trooper helmet over this one. I mean, the 501st is inevitable. That's coming.
Yeah.
But what I'd really like to see with this, I think what would be a really good use of this one is swap out the lenses for a different colour, paint the bastard green, and give us grey.
Oh,
I think that would look very tasty.
And it would. That, has more purpose of being a helmet than anything else because Thrawn has it in his office.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fuck. Oh, you shit. You dick. Why'd you do that to me? I'm already struggling with Space Citizen. You throw that curveball. Then I'd need to buy a Grail online.
Oh,
then I'd basically need to do my room like Thrawn's office.
The three of us, we sell Hasbro toys, so they don't have to.
That's it. That's it. I'm financially bankrupt as it always is.
Let's move away then from Black
Thank
Series.
you.
Let's move away from Black Series. We'll kind of plow through the next few reveals because I think it's something that we don't really
Give a fuck about.
Yeah, maybe. I know. Some of us do. Like, I'm still my toes still in. My toes still in, but.
Yeah, this is the only. This was actually.
Oh fuck yes! I need that baby. Yeah, boy.
He's awake.
Yeah. I need it. I pre-ordered it. First vintage collection thing in so damn long. I put a pre-order on it. Star Action Figures put up. I need that baby. Hook into my vein. And I got the little one going. Yeah. I like it. The only vintage collection thing where I'll actually, yeah.
It's quality, isn't it? It's bloody lovely. The stand as well. It matches with the Razor Crest, which
that's it. I think it's definitely the stand that really sort of persuaded me. I haven't pre-ordered it. I have a plan, but I haven't pre-ordered it yet. But I think the stand is definitely the thing that was like, okay, I like that consistency between this and the Razor Crest. You know, that they've tried to make it feel a little bit more high end. Because I think one of my major issues with this is the fact that its price tag is like $139.99, and in the back of my mind, I said this to Dan a couple of days ago. I was like, I am struggling to get my head around that, considering the fact that vehicles like 4 or 5 years ago were 20 quid.
Hell, Steve.
Yeah.
I didn't realise where they sort of
people,
sat in your room.
They're just people.
That's it. That's what I've tried to go for.
There are more of us, Pope. There are more of us.
But
hey,
those vehicles 4 or 5 years ago were about.
Worst time to take a drink.
They were about 20 quid. And now we've got this thing, which I appreciate has a lot more tooling and a lot more detail going on with it. But is it 140 quid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I know it is.
Steve, I'll make a test to myself again because it's what I'm best at. I paid more than that because 2 days before the restock came in, obviously. I pre-ordered one with comics and cocktails, which I've now cancelled because I think they're like the worst of the fan sites, unfortunately. I've just seen that comment. My guys at In Demand Toys were like, "Oh, have some import stock. We're going to get it 3 months earlier." So I was like, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah, I must admit I saw that because I saw that it's not coming until I think December. This one's slated for release, and I noticed that the import stock was due to come in around September time. Which I can sort of understand that, but part of me is like I said, and like Galaxy Wide Traders pointed out as well. I'm struggling with the.
Yeah, I understand it.
By today's standards, it isn't because it's a lot of money, but it isn't at the same time, if that makes any sense. But just like I said, in comparison to 140 quid in 2008, and I totally appreciate that we're not 15 years ago at this point.
That was nearly 3 ATTEs.
That's what I mean. And when I look at like a big Millennium Falcon or an ATTE that's packed with lights and sounds, and then I look at this and I think, no.
Yeah, it's half a hot toy, really, to put it in perspective.
Yeah, I think like I said, I have means.
He has means.
To get this one, I'm not going to disclose, but I have means to get this one.
I know where you're going with this.
To get this one down a little bit, and don't get me wrong, I want it. I really want it. It looks amazing. I think combined with that stand, as a centerpiece in a collection, that is going to look mint, especially for those who didn't get the Razor Crest.
Yeah, I think that
Do you know
for
what I
me
mean?
is the main
Yeah.
selling point.
It's a really nice consolation prize.
Content.
Yeah, I just
it just looks mint, and you get everything you need with it. Well,
Yeah.
almost.
That's something I appreciate, to be fair, is the fact that you get all that stuff with it. I mean, just looking at the image, like, you've got the Beskar spear, you've got the Darksaber, you've got Grogu with his...
He's even got his little vibro knife as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For the
it's
first time.
really
Love that.
good.
Hope
And
it
that-
goes
and
in the boots.
And that's the thing that's swaying me into, like, in terms of the, like, I appreciate rising costs, and I appreciate that things don't cost the same as they did 15 years ago. But what I do appreciate with this especially is that effort's been taken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Time and care and a lot of care and effort's gone into this, and I appreciate that. As given today's, like, the way that Hasbro sometimes go, this is appreciated.
I might be in like the minority, but when this was rumored, I was convinced the pack-in figure would have been Palimoto, and
Yeah.
that's one of the pit droids. If we don't get a Palimoto now that this is coming out, I'll be a little annoyed. I'll be honest.
To be fair, I'm with you on
need
that.
I need that figure, man. I think she's great in the show. Just
Palimoto and a little pit droid.
Yeah. Well, three of them. Why not?
Well, three of them, or maybe even BD. The little BD that she has.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, and they could, yeah.
They're doing R5 obviously, and that goes with this. So you got to get, world building. You got to get everything out, and they love doing stuff like that just for, at least for Mando.
Yeah.
So
definitely. I mean, they made a point, didn't they, about releasing so many different figures for the Razor Crest when that was coming out. So do the same for this. The question remains, though, guys. I know that you guys have pre-ordered this, but are you going to pre-order a second one so that you can display one with Grogu and one with R5?
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
I was just wondering. Yeah, you have to check because I
was close to considering it because Mando comes carded. I'll be honest. But then I sort of slapped myself and realised.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I mean, Galaxy Wide Trader again's just pointed out he's mentioned that this is definitely better than a 90 quid ATST, and that I totally get that because that ATST is just an absolute joke. The price on that $99.99.
New screws in it. It's all right. Screws in Star Wars.
I would hope that they've adjusted it so that the damn thing stands up.
Yeah.
For that price.
From what I gather, it's not too bad now.
Good.
You won't catch me buying it.
No.
I'm not bothered by that.
No. I mean, like I say, we don't tend to dabble as a three. We don't tend to dabble in vintage collections.
We're not vintage collectors as adamant as we used to be, at least. But this one did certainly tickle my pickle because the detailing is exquisite.
But I just get the Mandalorian stuff, so
yeah. And I was going to say on that subject, how are we feeling about the big man?
It comes with a Melu run. I'll say no more because that sells it alone.
All the accessories blow this one, the Black Series one, out the water. I will even go on record to say that this one is better than the Black Series one.
100%. Also, when did I get? Last week I got the Vintage Collection Paz Vizsla, and that's like the definitive. Having the hot toy, that's the definitive version because you get everything you need for the figure with it.
Yeah.
Same with this. There's nothing that you don't need, that you don't want, that isn't included.
We were on a roll then.
One technical difficulty. It's so good, mate. I mean, looking at the N1, it's always a good thing to look at.
Sure is. But yeah,
I think there's actually more detail on this than the Black Series one in terms of the weapon and stuff.
I mean, that's the thing. But this is another one that's probably going to be because someone shared a photo on Facebook earlier that they'd picked up the 3 3/4 inch Paz Vizsla from Forbidden Planet. They are 33 quid. For a 3 3/4 inch figure. My head did a 360. I was like, what?
You sent me that picture and I was wincing.
I saw that.
Wincing.
Was it one of the groups where they said they got it from Forbidden Planet in Leicester?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I was like, oh, 33 quid.
I didn't want to pay it myself, to be honest, but I thought it was kind of a FOMO because after the last couple of episodes, this is going to be like maybe the last thing we get of him.
That's the thing for me. Like, 25 quid, yeah, I can kind of sort of justify, and for all the additional accessories and stuff. And don't get me wrong, he looks like a good figure. And the way I'm justifying vintage collection purchases now is the fact that I don't make that many of them. So when I get a figure like this and pay that little bit more, it's like, well, I'm not buying a ton of other ones at the same price, so it's fine. Again, it all boils down to price, and I'm stuck in the past. What can I do?
It's nice to see something else from the Book of Boba Fett as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I suppose. Again, I'm in the minority. If Hasbro released the mods, I'd buy them as well. Mm-hmm. I think they are quirky enough and just so out there that I'd buy 3 different coloured bloody scooters. Didn't care how fast they went in the bloody program. If you didn't like them, that's your business. I loved them. I'm actually kind of sad because the people that vocally slagged it off, that's the point for another time. People that love to spend every waking minute, every Wednesday, watching something just so they can fucking moan about it afterwards. The fact that people were so vocal about the hate for that is the sole reason we're not getting figures of them, because those are made to sell toys. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Black Percent's good though.
I'm definitely. The next few vintage collection reveals are, I think we can literally just glaze over them.
Yeah.
I already have it. I have it. It's fine. Yeah. It's a very random release. I don't get it. Yeah.
45th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, so I have to release it because everyone wants none in that packaging there, boy.
Well, yeah, but
oh my god, I'm so hyped for this. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Oh my god.
20 of him at Celebration walking around.
I need it.
I mean, it's Moff Gerard. Yeah.
Moff Gerard. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hasbro.
This, on the other hand, I can firmly get behind. I'm all about this set.
Tumbleweed.
I love it. I know. Hey, Dan.
No, I dig it. Because there's a bunch of gulp shittos.
I was going to say it. Plus,
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Yeah.
Dan, aren't you putting together a little Dark Forces display?
Speaking of which. Yeah, boy.
I want my planning around there. And
there we go.
Yeah.
Oh, wait for it.
He walked his little legs off trying to find that.
Yeah, there he is in that little box up in here. And he's like handing that. Close him up.
So you kind of, sort of, definitely need the reuse from this set.
Yeah, maybe.
Which we'll broker a little deal. We'll broker a little deal, mate, because I have reuse already, so I have no need for this figure. Yeah. I do have a need for the other 3.
Yeah.
So what we're saying, if that reuse makes his way into your collection, boy.
Depends if I find a reuse Power Force 2.
Oh yeah.
Depends what I see. But
scrap that.
No. You never know, man. Maybe want that one. Maybe.
Maybe.
Keep
it
in the back of your mind.
Do you know what? I like this. I like it. That Tessic looks mint. I'm not too bothered about the other 2 glup shitters.
Yes.
But I'm buying this for that Tessic.
It is
because
cool.
That looks really good.
Sassy boy.
Yeah. So I'm all about that. I think
if they reuse it as well for some Mando stuff, then
exactly. That's it. There's an opportunity there, isn't there?
I think the best guy is ours.
That just about wraps it up for the Hasbro stuff. I've just looked at the time. We are pushing. Well, we're over the 3-hour mark now. So if anybody's out there watching this on replay and you've made it this far, I appreciate you. I appreciate you very much. We did have a number of other topics to talk about, but I feel like we could potentially leave that for another day.
Summarise it. Micro Galaxy Squadron. Yeah, boy! Give it to me! Yeah, all of them! I want them all now!
Well, I wasn't really thinking that, but I get what you're saying.
Oh, hello. Yeah, there's also that.
I mean, I feel like we don't really need to go into a lot of detail about this because we did briefly touch on it earlier when you guys were discussing the panel. So, and I mean, there's only one word that really summarises this trailer, really, isn't there?
Thrawn.
There we go. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hyped. It's a given. Absolutely buzzing for this.
So daft they didn't give us a bloody poster of that when we were there.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah.
It's cool, though. I'm so excited. I didn't expect it to come out in August either. So that's... If it comes out on the anniversary of the Clone Wars, that's going to be even better.
Yeah.
What
specifically?
What date's that?
What?
What are we saying? What date?
I'm failing myself right now. Is it the 28th of August?
Okay, I'll take it.
I think.
As long as it's near my birthday.
I don't remember, I'll be honest.
I want a little Ahsoka, a little Thrawny boy for birthday dance, so you can sit at home and watch Thrawn at home.
15th of August in the UK. Don't know if it was different elsewhere.
I need it now.
If it's a Wednesday, then they'll do it. You know.
But yeah, I think we like you said, we did briefly summarise it, didn't we?
Do you want to know what the exclusive footage was, just so people know the difference?
I think I saw the extended one. Isn't it the one where Sabine's on the speeder and she's
yeah. You get that scene of Thrawn. You get a speeder chase on Lothal, and then the end is what many people around me thought was a big mountain. You see Ahsoka and Sabine flying the Ghost.
Oh,
and
what?
There's just a fucking huge Purgle in front of the cockpit.
Frosty boy, Frosty Purgle boy.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
It was great. It was so cool.
I'm ready. Bring it on. We did, like I said, we lined up quite a few topics for this, but we have kind of gone well over it a little bit. I'll drop a little tease. I'll drop a little tease in the slides, but I think what we can do with this one, because I think there is a decent amount of time that could be spent discussing the next 3 topics that we were going to discuss, but I'll tease it now. And we'll do our usual trick, and we'll reconvene following this one, and we'll set a date for another stream, and we'll come back and discuss these things, because I think there's a fair bit that could be said. There's theories, there's all that sort of stuff, isn't there? So I think we could come back at a later date and talk about this, because we've got obviously this, and we've got where's the sexy boy? Where's he hiding? Come on. Just waiting for the wheel of death to. But I think we know what we're all, getting at here. There were 3 movies obviously announced at Celebration,
and one was, no more deserving than this one, shall we say?
Yeah.
What a long time coming.
Oh yeah. It's all come full circle, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like poetry, rhymes.
It's like poetry, rhymes.
Yeah. So I think we'll just touch on it now. Out of the 3, which are you most excited for?
Dave.
James? Yep. Thought you would be, mate.
Don't make me poor.
Honestly, mate, I could cry for him. Like, seeing him get emotional got me emotional. I'm just, in a weird way, I'm so proud of him, even though I don't really have the ability to be proud in the sense, It's, I don't know how to put it across. I'm just so pleased for the guy because, he's put the work.
He deserves it. He deserves it. He's the second.
Yeah.
He's the second coming of the Maker, isn't he? And it's about bloody time.
Prodigal son.
So yeah, we've got the Rey movie, we've got the Mandoverse movie, and then we've got this one, which I'm I'm intrigued about it. I'm not excited for it because I've got no idea what to expect, but I love that it's an era that they're tapping into. And that is, of course, the James Mangold movie, which is going to touch on the first ever Jedi to use the Force, which I think is just a wild concept that I'm here for. The fact that James Mangold has described it as biblical is
just nice to go back instead of forwards, I think, for a change.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really, really excited for that. So we'll
to get where we get to.
We'll not spend too much time on that now. We'll come.
Like I said, 2 hours.
I was going to say, I think this is the longest one we've done so far, to be honest. So I think we'll.
This was biblical.
This was biblical. It took you less time to read the bloody Bible, to be honest. but I think we'll come back. Yes. The three of us will set a date for the next one, and we'll touch on those topics at length, because I think there's a lot of stuff that we can touch on. But Galaxy Wide Traders said it best to sign off. In Filoni we trust. We most certainly do. And again, just to reiterate what we touched on at the beginning of the stream, Dan and myself will be in Blackburn next month for the Star Wars Fan Fun Day.
Boy.
So the convention run continues, at least for Dan. And
not for me.
the itch gets scratched for myself. So really excited for that.
If by some act of God you see a carded Clone Wars Sidious, shoot me a message.
I'll keep an eye out. Providing
it's not going to happen. If I can find one at Celebration, I don't know what the look's going to be like there.
Never mind. But we'll see. We'll see. But
cheers for watching, everybody.
Definitely. It's been a cracker. It's been a cracker. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Links are down below in the video description for Dan's channel, for James's channel, for James's Instagram. I'll edit this in post and stick something in about the Fan Fun Day so that you can get all the information about that. If you so wish, if you're already planning to attend, hope to see you there. If you're not planning to attend, maybe you should, because it's going to be sick. Can't wait. Really excited, and really excited to jump on again for another stream and chat some more.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
I like that. In the beginning, Steve, Daniel, and Jim. In the beginning, God created Tatooine, Hoth. So there we go. Wow. So we'll wrap this one up while the getting's good. But thank you everyone who's tuned in. I've had a really good time. Thank you. Dan and James, for sharing all your memories and your stories of Celebration. I've absolutely loved hearing it from the horse's mouth.
Thank you.
As always, mate. Thanks for giving us this outlet. Thanks to everybody for not falling asleep when I was talking.
Mate, you brought a whole level of energy to this stream that I thought, like I said, there was pre-celebration James and there's post-celebration James.
Post-celebration.
And I'm here for post-celebration James, mate. Bring that to the next stream.
Mate, he's here to stay, don't worry.
That's it. We're away.
Thanks for everyone watching. Thanks for anyone watching that actually, conversed with me in the lines and etc. Shoot me a message if you were there. A lot of cool people. Pleased to have met you.
Yeah. Dan, any final thoughts?
I've got lots of thoughts, but I'll keep them to myself. Hello, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if I didn't get to say I want a Celebration. I was a very busy boy. I was very hooked on my figgies and
he was hunting for the glub shitters.
I was hunting for the glub shitters. Thank you for everybody for watching these streams. It's been a goof, a gaff, and a laugh. I'll say goodbye to you all. Goodbye now. See ya.
What more needs to be said?
See you later. Bye. The stream's over. Are you still here? Oh, it's like the end credits scenes in the Toy Story film. Are you still here? What are you doing? You can click off now if you would like. I see.
I don't even. I can't. I was going to do my sign off, but I don't even. I can't now, can I? You've done
Steve,
it.
you're going to do your sign off.
I'll do it. Are we going?
Are you going to do your sign off yet?
I'm going to do my sign off. Are we all going to join in with
Are
it
you
again?
going to go on doing the sign off now?
Yes.
We're doing the sign off.
Come on, Dan.
So long, everyone.
Bye,
and
everyone.
as always, keep collecting, and may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. Bye.
Butchered that, you buggers.